Today is Tuesday. Welcome to the AM show. Whether you're watching us on your TV set from home or off across social media, this is the best breakfast show on the block. My name is Sweetie Abochi, and I do this with Benjamin Akakbo. In a bit, Denisia Poma will be serving you the first bulletin on the Joy News channel. And after that, we'll get into the newspaper review segment. And after that, for the newspaper review segment, energy analyst Kojo Poku will be joining us to get into the stories that have been captured in the various newspapers. And after that, Mufta Nabila Abdullahi will be here with the latest from the world of sports. And then after that, we get into our big stories. Today, you want to join us as the Electoral Commission is warning some alarm at the attempt by political parties to register foreigners and minors in the ongoing limited registration exercise, describing the phenomenon as unacceptable. Also, the EC insists no serial numbers of BVRs will be given to any political party. We'll delve into this issue on the show. Also, accumulated losses for Cocoa Board is an issue. We'll delve into how the revenues of the once enviable resource has whittled due to high operational costs, among others. Is there any remedy for this? You want to join us with your comments and thoughts all across social media platforms and when we open our phone lines right here in the studio. This is the AM News. Welcome aboard, and let's get ready now for the news with Denisia Poma Eje.
Hello, good morning, and welcome to the AM News. My name is Denisia Poma Eje. In our first story, the Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwives Association has bemoaned the growing abuse of herbal medicines among pregnant women in the Ashanti region. According to the association, this results in complications during childbirth, leading to high maternal and child mortalities. There's more in the following report.
The Ghana Health Service has described as high the number of women undergoing cesarean section in the country as against spontaneous vaginal delivery. According to the 2022 Demographic and Health Survey released in 2024, a 15% CS rate was acceptable, but the current nationwide cesarean section rate has increased to 21%. The Ashanti Regional Chairperson for the Midwives Society under the Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwives Association, Evelyn Ba Amankwa, attributes the trend to the excessive use of herbal medicine.
Even though we are in the 21st century, a lot of people still believe that the traditional medicine is good rather than the orthodox one. So what they do is they first try the traditional medicine, complicate. They say there is a drug known as awomredru. They go for those ones, complicate the labor. There is either a precipitate or a cervical dystocia, then they bring them to the hospital, making it difficult. So it is increasing the CS number rather than reducing it. We want to reduce it, but rather it's increasing it.
Speaking under the team, Midwives, a Vital Climate Solution, she urged midwives to educate pregnant women on the effects of local herbal medicine and protect the health of mothers and children from the impact of climate change.
Midwives are advocates, those on the ground caring for pregnant women and those in the classroom to ensure midwifery informs and center in the strategies to address climate change and its impact on the health and well-being of the woman.
The regional chairman of the Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwives Association revealed 60% of midwives experience waist problems on retirement due to work-related stress. Jones Afriye Anto called on the government to expedite actions on rural incentives for midwives and nurses.
The research shows that midwives, for instance, because of the nature of work they do, they are one of the most stressed professionals, and they also suffer wastes and other bone diseases going into the future when they retire. For instance, it is said that 60% of midwives retire with waist pains because of the nature of the work they do. We want to urge government to expedite action on the rural incentive for midwives and nurses in general, so that what they do extra there will be beneficial to them. The government should be able to define benefit that goes to somebody who sacrificed his family and everything to care for people 24 hours in their facility.
Away from maternal health, the newly appointed managing director of the National Investment Bank and NPP parliamentary candidate for Manson Kwanta, Trinebo Akodua Fukuo, is calling the bluff of critics asking him to resign, saying the actors are making hasty conclusions. Mr. Fukuo, who until recently was the deputy MD of the bank, took over from the former MD Samuel Sapon today. But barely 24 hours after he assumed the role, the minority and some civil society groups have called on him to resign. Ranking member on the Committee on Employment, Social Welfare and State Enterprises, Dr. Kwabena Donko, questioned whether the new appointment is to allow the candidates use NIB resources to campaign.
Once he became the parliamentary candidate, he would have resigned his position to concentrate on his political work. That has not happened. How then you go ahead to elevate him to the position of managing director, chief executive of the bank 6 months into an election, and with him as a parliamentary candidate? It goes against the grain. It goes against every good judgment. Are we then saying that we are elevating him for him to use the bank's scarce resources for his campaign? Obviously, if he's going to Manson Kwanta, he will obviously, as chief executive, is entitled to 24-hour transportation. So we think the appointment is bad and it's in poor taste.
And President of Imani Africa, Franklin Kujo, also questioned why the Bank of Ghana approved such an appointment when he will be engaged in rigorous campaigning for political office.
I mean, this whole thing, this is a bank that's struggling. Even if you're not a struggling bank, you think if you're a private bank, you actually treat it this way. Come on, look, this guy is running for fine. He's going to be focused on the next 6 months to get the seat, win the seat. Then he's being asked to be head of an institution that is struggling. I mean, I even wonder why NIB still existed. I really thought it would have just gone under long ago and subsumed them by some other private bank. But then this guy is being asked to still be head of the bank. Why? Is it as an insurance or what? He should take a leave. Then if he feels that after running for the election, if he loses, maybe then should be given an opportunity. But frankly speaking, what happens if he wins? Then what? Then if he wins, then there's a gap. I don't get. But between now and the election, he's not going to be focused and concentrate on the job. This is going beyond politics. This is going beyond politics. I think we should be very serious.
There is an argument that his appointment was approved by the board, and the board must fully be aware of all this. What do you think should be the way forward?
There's no way forward. This complete nonsense, my brother. Let's get to even the man himself. If I were him, maybe I'm not him, I'll recuse myself. I'm running for office for crying out loud. But you see, this is happening because his other colleagues have done it in the past, and in the not too distant past, when this controller, right, also did the same thing, and our own president sat down and looked on, and nothing happened. So they are copying from bad behavior. So there's nothing to be done but commonsensical thing to do. Chief, you cannot do this work and at the same time run for office. This is a critical institution, unless, of course, we are being told the institution doesn't matter.
But Director General of the State Interest and Governance Authority, SIGA, John Buedu, says the calls by the minority are without any basis.
Well, we are all concerned about the health of NIP. Their financial situation is not very good as we speak now. And I will entertain any argument that says that by his experience and qualification is incapable of managing and restructuring NIP as we speak now. But for the mere fact that he's a parliamentary candidate begs the question, because we have members of parliament who are ministers. We have some of them holding ministries that are sensitive. We have a finance minister, a member of parliament who will be going for campaign. So I think that they can further come up with other reasons rather than just a substantial election. We even have a vice president who is a presidential candidate. I think that is obviously no more than just being an MD for single entity.
Provide rubbish bins and discipline those who don't comply. That is the resounding tone of residents, traders and passers-by at the heart of the Kwame Nkrumah circle, where filth is not a strange element. They tell Joy News they do their best to sweep and clear gutters, but lack of rubbish bins make their work useless as the garbage collected and gathered ends up on the streets and in the gutters. There's more in today's filth exhibition with Hannah Odami.
The verdict of these residents and traders at the Kwame Nkrumah circle is a sum of many others Joy News spoke to. Yes, they are aware of the filth in which they live and sell, but the solution, according to them, lies in the authorities who have to provide them with rubbish bins.
Circle hapati hade denti entimi nya fene se obi aye do pewa.
This place, people choose to throw rubbish anywhere and anyhow. So we need dustbins so that people will find it difficult throwing rubbish on the floor. Just look at how nasty it is to see the heaps of rubbish in the middle of the road. The people from AMA sweep the area, but how the rubbish is collected is not the best. Rubbish containers are needed to keep all garbage collected. Just see how people throw rubbish on the floor just because there is no dustbin.
As an average joint to be a more boiler container. Oh, boiler go on, as a message, and no pretty baby.
Even after collection, the nauseating stench that fills the air in the immediate surrounding is not befitting for a city center. Reason why some are calling for stringent measures to deal with persons who litter the area.
When it rains, you can't even pass by this area because you will see how the rainwater will expose the littered rubbish all over, and the stench from the gutted rubbish is overpowering. I suggest that the policemen stationed under the bridge discipline those who throw rubbish away carelessly.
Government to try for it because everywhere is dirty. When you go to even Accra, Sepuye, I cannot even mention some many places. You see, they are dirty. Maybe should be organized. The Zoom Lion, they should be packing it early so that everywhere will be clean. Because when you are using the odor, it can give you some bad cholera or disease. But you know, government should just try to put people around so that they will be monitored everywhere. And people too, they should give people warning. They should not put Ebola inside the gutter or the environment. They should keep everywhere clean.
Whilst they wait for governments, perhaps they can take a cue from their fellow traders right opposite them, who have devised a strategy to keep their surroundings clean.
We are a group of traders who have chosen to keep our environment clean. We don't rely on government at all to keep our environment clean. And when we get in of our members flouting the rules, we punish the person to ensure that everyone complies.
Obi free baby na ma be aban free baby and na munu baby otin one association ye na se yan omra bi ye be fa no e bi 200 said be next time no onya sa bi ti uba ya no o pra emra ye de ase o ma kai ho.
Reiterating this is a phone case seller, Lukman Yaya, who is certain a lifestyle change is urgently needed to deal with the daily filth they see.
For me, it's no good. Because the reason why they are putting it there, there's no dash bin. If there is dash bin, they'll put it. If the car comes, they'll carry it and go. but because it's not dash bin, some always tie on the rubber, some don't even tie it, they'll go and just pour it there. They're supposed to talk to the Zoom Lions to put the dash bin around. If they see somebody putting pure water rubber on the ground, oh, pick it. Or we ourselves can advise ourselves, oh, my brother or my sister, pick the thing, then you keep the place clean. But here, it's no man's land. So anything that you want, you can do and go. So I'll advise my brothers, my sisters, and let me say everybody, that we should try to keep the country clean as well.
From the Kwame Nkrumah Circle, I am Hannah Odami for joining us.
And now moving on, the Chief Executive Officer of the National Petroleum Authority, Dr. Mustafa Hamid, has urged Ghanaians to embrace the use of LPG products, citing health benefits and reduced risks compared to traditional cooking methods. He noted that women in particular have suffered greatly from the harmful effects of charcoal and other traditional cooking methods. The head of quality control at the National Petroleum Authority, Saeed Kutia, made the statement on behalf of the CEO of NPA at a regional town hall meeting held in Wa on the cylinder recirculation model. Joy News' Upper West Regional Correspondent Rafiq Salam reports from Wa.
Thank you very much. The National Petroleum Authority, NPA, organized a regional town hall debate on the cylinder recirculation model in the Wa municipality of the Upper West region. The event brought together stakeholders that included traditional leaders, security personnel, and women groups across the 11 municipalities and districts. The debate aimed to educate the public on the new policy, which seeks to bring LPG closer to consumers' doorsteps. Speaking on behalf of the Chief Executive Officer of NPA, Mustafa Hamid, Head of Quality Control at NPA, Ubaidullah Saeed Koutier, spoke of how the new policy will enhance the safety of LPG usage.
So through this policy, wants to improve the access to LPG and thereby increasing the number of people using LPG, to also deal with some of the safety concerns posed with the current system of LPG distribution, which have sometimes resulted in fatalities that we do not like. So inherent in the policy is also to address LPG safety concerns. For instance, this new policy will have LPG bottling plants. Currently, we have 4 of such plants in place, 1 in Kumasi, 3 in Tema. They will maintain and own the cylinders.
He emphasized the need for Ghanaians to adopt LPG products, citing their health benefits and reduce risks.
LPG is a clean cooking fuel that we need to embrace. Compared to the traditional methods of charcoal, LPG is more healthier to our health. We, particularly our mothers and women, have suffered so long a time with the usage of charcoal and those traditional methods, where particularly the smoke emanating from these cooking practices have suffered or affected their life largely. So we want to entreat to Ghanaians that safety concerns are addressed in this policy, and therefore it is safe, and Ghanaians should therefore embrace it and use it as an alternative.
Our Power Social Minister Stephen Yakubu emphasizes the need for NPA to establish a cylinder manufacturing company in the northern belt of the country to promote LPG adoption.
I really don't agree that we should have only 3 cylinder manufacturing companies, and they are all down south. I think it's something that NPA will have to relook at it. Why is it that all the time everything is down there? Why is it that the policymakers didn't actually even think that the 5 northern regions, they should set one even in Wa also? So I think that is something that we are not going to take it kindly. I think we should go back and make sure that at least the 5 northern regions, there should be a cylinder manufacturing company also in one of the 5 northern regions. It is not all the time that we as Northerners should always wait for things to come from down south. In fact, the companies can be here and also manufacture and send down south for them also.
The Paramount Chief of Polma, Koro Osman Diwe Nangpada III, chaired the event.
It is also good news for those of us who are advocates in trying to conserve our environment. In recent past, and even as I speak, we are battling with the issue of fast degrading vegetation, even as they already look fragile. The very few trees we manage with as bait to attract rain, to engage in our rain-fed agriculture, have been mauled down and hewn for charcoal burning.
Reporting for J News, Rafiq Salam. Wow.
And moving on, Chairman of the Ghana Hajj Board, Ben Abdallah Banda, has cautioned prospective pilgrims for the 2024 Hajj exercise against the use of unauthorized visas for the purposes of Hajj. This comes in light of escalated concerns about the fraudulent activities of unauthorized agents who mislead would-be pilgrims into traveling to Saudi Arabia without authorization during the Hajj season. He said such unsuspecting individuals risk being arrested, jailed, and in some cases deported. Anna Savit has more. The following report.
Hajj authorities in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia has announced new regulations regarding this year's Hajj exercise, which states explicitly that only pilgrims with Hajj visas will be allowed entry and participation of the exercise, and persons who violate such restrictions may face a ban on future Hajj participation and potential deportation. Chairman of Ghana's Hajj Board, Ben Abdallah Banda, who supervised the exercise last year, says would-be pilgrims are misled by unscrupulous people to travel to Saudi Arabia with visiting visas, subjecting them to trouble.
Thought to the visiting visas, they are misled because, as you do know, they may not even have traveled to the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia before. So they don't know the prevailing situation and conditions there. It is only when they get there that they realize that what they were told is not what they think in Saudi Arabia.
The influx of people with non-Hajj visas attempting to embark on the exercise, according to Ben Abdallah, subject Ghanaian pilgrims through inconvenience, as such persons tend to use the limited facilities meant for Ghana's Hajj pilgrims.
That people who don't have the Hajj visas normally cause a lot of inconveniences and challenges to the Hajj Board is Mina, where they know that you can't, as an individual, go and rent a tent in Mina. It's not possible. Unlike you can go to any hotel and say you want to book a room. But for Mina, they deal with countries. They don't deal with individuals. Or they deal with companies. They don't deal with individuals. What they normally do is that they come and storm our tents.
Abdallah elaborates some consequences one could go through when arrested with non-Hajj visas, and this includes a jail term as stipulated in the laws of the Saudi Arabia.
The consequences for such an act are that you can be arrested, you can be fined, you can be jailed in Saudi, and you'll be deported. You can also be barred from entering Makkah for a certain number of years.
He was, however, quick to emphasize that contrary to claims that embarking on the Hajj pilgrimage with visiting visas are cheap and affordable, such pilgrims in turn spend more due to the number of days they spend in Saudi Arabia.
If you want to go solo by not aligning with the Ghana Hajj Board, it's rather more expensive than if you were to go with the Ghana Hajj, because one, as I'm talking, some are trying to leave Ghana for Saudi. You spend more days, and the rooms that you sleep in will be more expensive. You are going to eat for a month or more than a month. It will be quite expensive. Okay? And then you are going to use your own means of transport, which is quite expensive. How do you even get to Mina? It will be very inconveniencing. And you will always be fighting because you fear that if you are caught, you'll be in trouble. That psychological trauma alone is something. And when you are arrested, you can also be punished.
Will-be pilgrims are, however, cautioned to stay away from embarking on the religious exercise with non-Hajj visas in order to stay away from the aforementioned consequences. Reporting for Joy News, Anas Sabit, Accra.
And that's it for AM News. But right after this, we have the news review. We'll be joined by energy analyst Kojo Poku. I leave you in the able hands of Benjamin Akakpo and Sweetie Abochi. My name is Denisia Pomaije.
Review segment with me, Sweetie Abochi, and
Benjamin Akakpo. Your tone is a bit, you sound a bit somber.
I'm freezing
this morning. You're freezing?
I'm just.
Oh, I didn't know it was winter in this section because it's spring
here.
Over here.
And I've not had coffee yet, so.
Oh.
Yeah.
I see. You have coffee all the time? No wonder you're friends with Kweku Owusu-Pepra, channel manager. No wonder you're friends.
No, he's not. No. I'm way out of his league.
No, but once you guzzle coffee,
no,
I stay away from coffee.
I need it.
Oh, you need a kick from
it.
Coffee. I see.
Makes it sound like I'm dependent, but I do. Like, I like it. I like the rush it gives me in the morning.
I'm one of those people on whom coffee has the reverse effect.
Oh, palpitations and...
not necessarily. I rather tend to doze off.
What?
So I don't do
I knew there was something off about it.
I think I found out that I don't think maybe things have changed, but I just don't do coffee. Coffee has its good sides, but it also over time has certain, and it messes with your mood a bit. But a certain Kweku Owusu-Pepra. Kweku, good morning to you wherever you are. You are the
He's
coffee guzzling.
A mug in hand, watching us right now.
Yeah. I want the whole world to know that my channel manager guzzles coffee like nobody's business. And he has some of the finest brands too. So if you want to do anything, you want to impress him, bring him a jar of some fine coffee. That will pave the way for some things to happen. But Kweku, good morning. Anyway, let's get into our sponsors for every day's newspaper review, and I'm talking about none other than Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic. I tell you, I've been going around. Sometimes I hear stuff. People are calling me my prostate this and that, and you don't want to get there. Fertility issues for women, and that is why for men they're offering prostate screening for free. For women, fertility screening for free, and at all their branches. So here in Accra, they can be located at Spintex opposite the Shell signboard, Kumasi, Kronomu, Abuehia, behind the Angel Educational Complex, Takrady Energy Estate, Tema Community 22, Techiman Hanswa, and Esiaman Zima. Their call lines 0244 867 068 or 0274 234 321. Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic, the end to chronic disease. This morning you are freezing because you didn't even wrap up, the tagline of Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic. You are freezing this morning.
Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic, the end to chronic disease.
Yeah,
happy now?
And just the start of the news review. But I told you could put all this chill into good effect.
Oh my God, Benjamin, let's get into the newspaper. Don't do this to me on air.
No, the chill can be used. It can be translated into.
Okay, say it. For what?
Say what?
Whatever.
It was free medical advice.
You whispered into my ear.
Free medical advice I was giving you.
And you're saying that.
You know.
It's good because.
No, the point is, when you speak to a medical practitioner, a GP, it is in confidence.
You are not a
so what I have told you is in confidence. Ta-da! Let's bring in Kojo Poku, energy analyst. Good morning, Kojo.
Good morning, Ben. How are you?
I'm okay, a bit tired, but I'm fine. I hope you're well.
I see you're not having it easy with this, your co-host. She's not letting you have it easy. And I like that.
I don't know what letting me have it easy means, but...
You should have stuck with the burn and bend when I told you to keep that program. I mean, you now changed it, and now you have someone who's giving you a very tough time on your shows.
Well, the change had to come at some point.
Upon advice of my counsel, I plead the fifth. When you are
plead
done,
the fifth, you will not join this conversation.
No.
Interestingly, though, before we get into the papers and he shares, I was listening to the BBC this morning, this thing about used clothing, second-hand clothing. Have you ever used Obroniwewu?
Yes.
Okay, I have too, at some point. Kojo, did you ever use Obroniwewu?
Is it about us being the largest importers?
No, I have not.
Oh, you never used Obroniwewu?
No, because when we were kids, they sew our clothes. Because, from our days, everything you wear is sold for you. So we never used to buy. Obroniwewu is just a recent thing. Back in the day, everything from your school clothes.
Obroniwewu is recent.
Everything. It is. Because back in the day, everything you wear is sold for you. Where are you going to buy Obroniwewu? Where is the money to buy
Obroniwewu goes back to even...
Maybe the material was Obroniwewu, I don't know. But everything I used to wear as a kid was sold to go to parties, to go and sold.
Very bourgeoisie.
Wow. Okay.
Well, I don't know why people say very bourgeoisie. Nobody ever said Kojo Poku was somebody who came from anywhere. Everybody knows where I come from and who I am. So it's not a problem. Everything I used to wear as a kid was sung. It was the usual thing back in the day. The Adieye, the tailor wearing that thing. How was that bourgeoisie?
All right,
Today,
but what point did you want to make with this? You need to land it.
Okay. So you need me to land. I'm going to land. I was listening to the BBC this morning, and the boom in waste. So there are different kinds of waste, but even when you segregate and you get down to clothing waste, what it means. And we had a representative of the association, the Used Clothing Association, defending, the fact that they are not contributing that much to waste. But the BBC has photos, other entities have had photos and all of that. I think there's a middle line. Yeah. Obroniwewu has its purpose in this country. It serves a certain constituency, without which maybe some people would, I don't know whether I should say go naked, but on the other hand, it's adding a lot of waste as well. I have had interactions with people who will tell you that you get one bale and sometimes 60% of the bale, 70% of the bale is trash. You can't even use it. Where does that end up? How does that add to our waste problem in the country? So all of those angles are there to be looked at, and that's why I was just bringing it up. It's a conversation we've had. Some countries have banned. Some countries have banned these in Africa. I think Rwanda and others have banned.
We are the largest importers of food.
One of the largest in the world. Quick thoughts, Kojo, and then we go.
Can I come in? You see, the only reason we are the largest importer of Obroniwewu is that we have a taste for foreign stuff that we don't have a taste for our local stuff. You see, what are we buying from? What are we getting from Obroniwewu? Like I was saying to you before, when we were kids in the 70s and 80s, the woman who comes around, the machine.
Adieye.
Right? Adieye, yes, Adieye. They now can measure you and they will palm a trousers for you, a shirt for you, and then you're on your way. What are you wearing? You see, most of the things we have accosted to is basically imported stuff that's where it started. What, like you rightfully said, it's trash. If you bring them in, what are you bringing in? People now, I get to the point that people are buying brassiere and underwears and stuff in Obroniwewu. What is that? So for me, I just think that this thing should have been banned a long time ago. There is nobody that cannot substitute something else with Obroniwewu. That is how all our GTP, all our textile industry have died in Ghana. Go to the Ivorian countries and see how they dress.
I actually have someone agreeing with you. Mami Esi Thompson is saying that she can relate. All her clothes as a child were all
no, but that was the thing in the day.
But anyway, we have to get into...
You say bourgeoisie.
Right.
You say you are from the old school. You are from the new school.
Kojo, let it pass. We have to get into the newspapers now. But we've gone on for about 5 minutes already. You have about 1 minute.
Let me just say, though, that for those who go as far as bras and undies and stuff, Charlie, that is just...
For the Obroniwewu way.
Charlie, I don't know.
They say it's the best.
I don't know. But as a child, at some point, these things you didn't have control over as a child. At some point, some things came through. But the sewing too and all that. So I think for most people, it's a mixture. in there. But Kojo, you have a minute. Any issue you'd like to quickly dilate on, then Sweetie will take over with the papers.
I think the ongoing registration is still a challenge for some of us. We can't say it more enough that EC should help, and let's basically get it sorted. This offline, online, offline, online, we are calling on the EC to please, because the enthusiasm of the youth should not be wasted. And I think that that's the only plea I have for the Electoral Commission. They should please help sort this out.
All right.
That was brief. Okay, and straight to the point. Now let's get into the newspapers, starting with the Daily Graphic newspaper. On the front page, push for SMEs growth. President tells government at 3i Africa Summit. And African Prosperity Dialogues, 3rd edition launched. The continent charged to invest in infrastructure. Atlantic Lithium lists on Ghana Stock Exchange. First greenfield company on Ghanaian bourse. I'll start with that story. And it reads, the Atlantic Lithium, the entity overseeing the Ewoya lithium project in the central region, became the first international green minerals company to list its shares on the Ghana Stock Exchange. So coming 7 months after its subsidiary, Barari DV Ghana Limited, was granted the country's first lithium mining lease, Atlantic Lithium is initially offering shares valued at about, let me find that story now, 650 million Ghana cedis on the Ghanaian capital market with an indicative price of 4 cedis 40 pesos per share. The Minister of Land and Natural Resources, Samuel Abujinapo, told the Daily Graphic yesterday that Atlantic Lithium had made history as the first greenfield company to list on the GSE. I think that's one of the requirements that, were spelled out in that contract, and also to pay 1% to a community development fund. I'll do another story, and then we'll come to you for reactions. Push for SMEs growth. President tells government at 3i Africa Summit. That story is on page 13 of the Daily Graphic. President Akufo-Addo has called on African governments to align their policy framework to support the growth of small and medium enterprises and encourage innovation. The president emphasized the importance of SMEs in driving economic growth and job creation across the continent, and highlighted the need for governments to create a conducive policy environment so that to enable SMEs to thrive and innovate. So he was addressing participants in the 3i Africa Summit yesterday. He said the conducive environment included providing access to finance and invest in infrastructure and technology that could support the growth of these businesses. I'll put a pin in that and do the African Prosperity Dialogues 3rd edition launched. The 3rd edition of the African Prosperity Dialogues has been launched with a call on Ghana and other African countries to prioritize investment in critical infrastructure needed to facilitate intra-African trade. The Minister of Finance, Dr. Mohamed Amin Adam, who made the call, said investment in energy, digital platforms, transportation and logistics would serve as an enabler to sustainable development of the continent. And he stressed that with Africa's population projected to hit 2.5 billion in the next 25 years, with 70% of the population being youthful, as well as having the largest markets, the continent could realize its highest potential in trade if there was some targeted investment in critical infrastructure to serve as a catalyst. That's happening in the business world and lithium story. Benjamin, do you have something to say? Or
nope, let's throw it to Kojo.
Kojo Poku.
Well, thank you. The lithium is a good thing. I mean, it's about time that Ghanaians get to invest in some of these projects and some of these companies that are going to basically take over our natural resources. You know about the policy that my candidate, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, is championing to make sure that we get Ghanaians heavily involved in our mineral resources. It's a good thing. It's a step in the right direction. The only problem I have is that when some of these companies now list, okay, what sort of percentage are they basically giving it out? Sometimes when there's the price, like what President Kufuor did in the past, he now makes sure to the smallest coupon up, which is basically making sure that everybody gets a share in there. If it goes to some of these big investors, then it's not really selling it to the Ghanaian, because there are international investors which play on our international stock exchange, and they will mop up the shares as their investment. So yes, you might be listed on the Ghana Stock Exchange, but the shares will not be owned by the ordinary Ghanaian, which is what their thinking is. So I don't know how that pan out. Small-scale industries is something that everybody's been pushing. Middle class is key. If we don't grow the middle class, we don't have a country to basically say that we are basically empowering people. We need to do a lot for the small scale. But that brings me into the Prosperity Summit, where everybody talks about intra-African free trade and the things that will make that work. I think that we don't talk about transportation enough. Transportation is the key to intra-African free trade. Without transportation, we have nothing. Because how do I move stuff from here to Nigeria? How do I move stuff from here to Benin or Togo? How do I move stuff from here to Cameroon? Transportation. And sometimes it's as difficult that people might think it is. If you have a shipload of stuff or a container that has to go from Nigeria to Ghana, or maybe Ghana to Cameroon, it has to go through Antwerp. It can't go directly from Ghana to Cameroon. It can't go directly from Ghana to, let's say, South Africa. Okay? So the thing that African leaders need to do and stay on it till we get it absolutely right is transportation. Without that, African free trade, we are just joking. On the energy side, I think that for local countries like Ghana, we need the energy infrastructure because cheaper electricity will help us compete in terms of the energy cost. But the overall, transportation is the biggest thing in that things we need, infrastructure we need for intra-African free trade.
All right, there you have it. One last story before we move on to the next paper, because it's an interesting one. Stevie Wonder conferred with Ghanaian citizenship. So yesterday, Stevland Hardaway Morris, the American songwriter, musician, and record producer, otherwise known as Stevie Wonder, became a Ghanaian citizen in fulfillment of a 50-year-old dream. He swore an oath at the Jubilee House in Accra, administered by Circuit Court Judge Kizita Nakowa Kwashi, to respect and protect the Constitution of Ghana with the help of God, with the Bible in hand. How do you feel about this, Kojo? I mean, he's been talking about. I like Stevie Wonder. I've been talking. He's been talking about this.
He has played with this idea since the 90s.
Very long time.
No, I remember as far back as the 90s.
Oh wow! It was just recent for me on an interview.
He's
I think 2 years.
He's flirted with the idea for a while, and it's not technically that he's coming to up and leave the U.S. and come and live here, but it's symbolic. You know, there are times when Bob Marley's wife, she was here in Ghana and all that. So the symbolism is good. But I'm asking beyond that.
Bob Marley's wife lives in Ghana.
Say that again.
Bob Marley's wife lives in Ghana. She's a queen in the Bree area. She lives in Ghana.
Yeah.
You see, did you get what I said? Or are you just going to? That's exactly what I said. We all know where she lived and all that. But I'm saying that she had been here for a while, even set up a studio. How is that different from what you're saying, Kojo?
No, you said that there were times that she was here, but she lives here.
Okay, she is here, she was here, she's been here.
Let me get to my point. Let me get to my point.
Right.
We have a country that is a beautiful country. We have a country that a lot of people desire to come and live in Ghana. Ghanaians are the only ones who bastardize Ghana. We don't say anything good about the country that we have, a beautiful country that it is. For some of us who lived abroad and will never ever go to live in any other country, I don't hold any other passport than the Ghanaian passport.
All right,
and I'm so proud that that's the only passport I hold.
Made.
Let me learn. You give me the opportunity, let me speak. I don't like when you interject me like that. Please stop that. It's not.
We are racing against time, so make it.
Well, then I will finish it in a bit. But it's a beautiful country, and it's a good thing that Steve Wonder has led the way. Others have done it before him, and I think that more will come and do that.
All right. Thank you. Benjamin.
It's only Ghanaians who bastardize Ghana.
Yeah, when I saw this...
It's also because I've listened to the Attorney General go out there and talk about good governance, very recently, good governance and how to stem the tide of corruption in the midst of everything we are seeing with, EOCO, OSP and the AG in a tussle and other things that are happening, right? And you ask yourself, so sometimes the rhetoric we paint out there, I've seen the Lands Minister, Mr. Janapo, out there in recent times talking about planting trees and so many things that are non-existent from my perspective. So sometimes it's not just about, out there paint a certain picture just to make yourself look good. Are you good? It's like that proverb, not a proverb, adage by Abraham Lincoln. When you look at a tree and its shadow, the shadow is what everyone thinks. That's perception. The real tree is your character. That is who you really are. You can't hide that.
Right.
Anyway, let's get into the Daily Guide newspaper and some interesting stories there. Rousing welcome for Bawumia in home region. The Stevie Wonder story is also here. Samuel Uku supports Akropong students. EC registers 251,149 new voters in 6 days. And Nana pushes for Africa's digitalization. Well, let's start from page 3. So the New Patriotic Party flag bearer, Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, kicked off a campaign in his home region of Northeast yesterday to a rousing welcome from residents who defied an early morning downpour. It is part of his 5-day campaign tour of the 5 regions of the North, where he has increased community engagement through a house-to-house campaign. Now, Dr. Bawumia, who has had an impactful campaign since beginning his regional tour with engagements with market women, commercial drivers, and other identifiable groups, looks to be going all out to sell his vision and policies to Ghanaians. With his house-to-house campaign, he stormed the Northeast region on Monday. Residents of Wale Wale, that is where he comes from, defied the early morning downpour to offer him a mammoth reception and a grand entry into the town. I've also said that he's been preaching as well in recent times. He's become I guess we must get a clerical collar for the vice president because he seems to have the gift.
That his government will not legalize LGBT. I think there's a second time he's waxing lyrical about what his government.
Yeah, the first time was recently,
yeah.
And then whom did we speak to? Who was saying? I think it was Miracles.
Abuaji,
that there were. Okay, so he said there were no timelines in respect of that. But let's throw it to Kojo Poku on this bit. Exciting news, no?
Very. I don't know why anybody thinks that Dr. Bawumia has any other views on LGBT than what he has stated. But let's not go into that. Look,
well until Kojo, you tell me your name is Kojo Poku, no, I wouldn't know
my
that.
view. Oh, my views is known. My view is known. Everybody know my view on LGBT.
No, you're not getting my point. You missed the point. I'm saying if you are Kojo Poku, I meet you. And I don't know that you are Kojo Poku. Until you tell me you are Kojo Poku, how would I know? Unless someone else told me. It's the same scenario.
So, he has said it, and we've moved on. Let's now get into something else. Beautiful day yesterday. You know, Doctor has always said something. And when you keep saying that Doctor has been preaching, this is something that Doctor has said time and time again. He's from a both Christian and a Muslim home. His mother was a Christian before converting to Muslim when the mother married the father. He has 17 kids. He has 17 siblings. 8 of them Christians, 9 of them Muslims. So he lived in a house where both the Quran and the Bible was present. And this is something Doctor have said everywhere he has gone. So if you hear Doctor talk about the Bible, it's nothing new in his household. He grew up in a house where there were both the Quran and the Bible. He has said time and time again that he was a Methodist boy at the age of 5 before he now converted into Muslim. So there's nothing wrong with Dr. quoting the Bible. But the beautiful thing about yesterday is that...
But who suggested there was something wrong with it? You are finding things where there's nothing.
The way you put it...
I just said that he was preaching. Let's give him a clerical collar already.
For somebody who is a Muslim.
And it's sounding...
Ben, how do you get a clerical collar for somebody who is a Muslim?
I'm saying that he appears to be good at what he's doing.
Ben, let's move on from that comment, please. The beautiful thing about yesterday was that he keeps saying that he has a friend who used to say that nothing good can come out of Wale Wale. And yesterday, something beautiful came out of Wale Wale. When the people of Wale Wale, their sons, their daughters, and then their grandparents and their uncles saw that a beautiful thing came home yesterday. And that is why the whole town, be it at MPP or at NDC, came out in the rain to welcome the son of the land. And that was a beautiful sight yesterday. And everybody has seen the videos.
All right. Let's get into some other stories. Nana pushes for Africa's digitalization. President Akufo-Addo has taken his government's digitalization agenda to the continental level. That story on page 3. He is now advocating that all governments in Africa embrace the concept to enhance the transformative power of digital technology and financial technology, that is fintech, to accelerate the continent's development. This was when he spoke at the opening of the 2024 edition of the 3i Africa Summit in Accra yesterday, insisting the continent had to begin breaking all the policy barriers that hindered the growth of innovation and technology and form collaborative partnerships that transcended borders. And sometimes you read these stories and you have to do on-the-spot editing, because sometimes I don't know how our newspapers, when they are scripting, what they do with the English language. But there is also, Russia says troops enter border town near Kharkiv. And then amid Israel's Rafah offensive, anger grows among protesters. Me, I've shared my thoughts on this thing ad nauseum on both sides. I am disappointed with how things are going. We need peace, yes, but the right things must be done. Collins Dauda granted bail, and we heard of that yesterday, the Mpoho. I wonder, though, the other guy in the Mpoho constituency, I don't know whether he's one of the secretaries or something. I don't know whether he has also been granted bail. On the back page, pro golfers gear up for Daman qualifiers, and Toulouse spoil Mbappe's send-off party. That is after they stunned Paris Saint-Germain by 3-1. And if you're a follower of the Premier League, Burnley has been relegated. Quick thoughts, Kojo, before we get into...
Well, it's sad that Mbappe has been at PSG and he couldn't help them win the Champions League. I think that was a project that they were very passionate about, and I think it's something that did not go according to plan. So now he's leaving.
Can we, just to interject, can we really blame Kylian Mbappe? At the point they had Neymar, they had Kylian. At a point they had Sergio Ramos. At a point they had Lionel Messi. Like, these people couldn't win it. Can we blame Kylian?
Well, but that's the point I was going to make. The point is that they are the only team that money couldn't help them. I mean, most of the time, the money has helped team revamp. Look at what Man City is going to do this season. 4 trophies in a row, hopefully.
How long did it take Man City? They've been pumping billions into the team. It's only last 2 years or so that they won the Champions League. Look at how long the project had gone.
But the good thing is that, look, most teams, money helps them. Like that's the point I'm making. And with PSG, it hasn't done the same. So they have to go back to the drawing board now that all the stars have left.
Benjamin, Kojo Poku, I think I want you to ask Benjamin, what about Manchester United?
Oh, Man U, no, we don't talk about Man U. You see, when we talk about Man U, we give them too much credit. Why would you talk about Man U?
Someone is screaming that their roof is leaking, but you're here pointing.
Let me just find out, which team do you follow again, since you want to go down this road?
I'm Chelsea.
Name one trophy that Chelsea has acquired more than Manchester United. Just give me a ballpark figure. You can't. You see, when you're talking of a team.
Let me. You see, that's the problem. You asked a question. Let me answer.
Go ahead.
Chelsea, the only team that at any point in the Premier League won all 3 trophies: the league, the Champions League, and the Super League. Tell me if Man U did that.
Oh, I am surprised at you. You didn't hear of the treble in 1999?
No, the trouble.
This is a travesty.
You asked Ben.
This is a travesty of justice.
What has Chelsea? We won the league, the Champions League, and the Super League. Man U has not done that.
Which Super League are you talking about?
Benjamin Akaku.
The Champions League, the Champions League, the Europa, and the Champions League, and the Super League.
You know, look. Let's not do this here. There is nowhere. There's not a single trophy. You've had your say. There's not a single trophy that Chelsea has won more than Manchester United. And please, let's not do this. When teams with trophy coffee tables try to rub shoulders with teams with trophy rooms,
analysis.
That's a problem.
We are not doing quantitative
and qualitative. You guys come nowhere near us.
We are doing qualitative analysis. Look, after, when they said the roof caved in, after Arsenal came to Man City and beat Man U, when they came to the Man City the roof actually literally caved in from the rain. That's how bad
your Stamford Bridge has been broken many times, but you've never spoken about that. But anyway, that's on the. Anything else to say before I quickly wrap with the New Finder newspaper?
No, please. The fintech. I think fintech is something that we don't talk much enough about this country. It's the emerging market. It's everything that everybody has to get into. The youth that keep complaining that, look, there is not much to do. People should research into fintech. The future is fintech. And
I couldn't agree with you more. There's a lot of, It's one of those areas as well, even as we talk about the African free trade area, but we're not harnessing it. And I must say, I'm going to make some people displeased this morning, but the whole HQ being here, we're not maximizing it at all. Most African countries, are not feeding into it.
Ben, whether the headquarters is here or not, it doesn't, for me, it's really, yes, it's a good thing the headquarters is here. But mostly everything is online. Try and get an appointment with anybody from that headquarters to see if you will get
These are some of the things I'm talking about. Those are the very things I'm talking about. It's problematic. But anyway, the new funded newspaper, Atlantic Lithium, joins Ghana Stock Exchange. We were just talking about it. Strategic infrastructure investment vital for Africa's prosperity. Gabi says so. Digital infrastructure key to Africa's prosperity. That's according to the president. And then 7 potential private developers inspect Saglemi houses. Ghana, our motherland. Anyway, at this bit, though, I have a question for you, Kojo. Maybe you could help me. Gabi talks about strategic infrastructure investment vital for Africa's prosperity. What is his specific role, as far as you know, in this administration? Do you know?
Who?
Gabi Asare-Otrida.
He doesn't have any specific role in this administration.
Okay, so in this instance, it's just about the African prosperity network.
In the last 7 years, you know that Gabriel Chidako has no position in this government. Why that mischief?
I am just asking. I mean, maybe you know something.
But you know as much as I know. If you go through the government portfolio, Gabriel Chidako has no official portfolio.
Oh, okay. All right.
You know, listen, but let me make a point. You know, Gabi is from the Dankwa Buzia think tank. You know that, right?
I know that, yes.
Okay. And the Dankwa Buzia think tank, for a very long time, was more of a mouthpiece, which is basically policy direction. They are more like a civil society organization. And the Dankwa Buzia Institute has been very instrumental in a lot of the discussion and policy in this country. So I'm surprised that all of a sudden, when Gabi speaks, everybody now makes it look like, why is Gabi speaking? Dankwa Buzia Institute is a very influential mouthpiece in Ghana, and they've been doing this for so many years.
Right. Anyway, I'm assuming since he spoke in the capacity as executive chairman of the African Prosperity Network, we would leave it there, the Africa Prosperity Dialogues. Let me see whether there are some other interesting stories to look
Mischief will never leave you, Ben, I'm telling you.
Pardon me?
Mischief will never leave you.
Well, thank you. Then I'll wear my clothes of mischief, as I do all the time, if that is how you see it. Women judges urged to set precedents for vulnerable and the marginalized. And President Akufo-Addo, that will be my final story, has reiterated the pivotal roles women judges play in eradicating negative cultural practices, especially among women and girls, which has long impeded progress development. Well, that's it for the New Finder newspaper. Any parting shots?
There was something Sweetie. I chanced. I'm not sure which of the papers, about over 50,000 deaths recorded.
50,000?
Yeah, and most of it is due to health problems, hypertension, pneumonia, and the rest. I mean, we need to start taking care of ourselves and ensuring that we're eating well, exercising. It was sad. I was reading it. I'm not sure if that the New Finder or the Daily.
But there's also the problem. You see, around this time, even as we have to go, the sort of food we're consuming. Yesterday, someone was sharing with me a story, right? I will not mention the place because I want my people to go there. But you have a cabbage farm right next to people doing galamsey. So even if they are not using the mercury and the rest on the spot, right, there is leaching, which affects plants.
Yeah.
And we are having, I mean, there are so many, so some of the things we are consuming now are problematic. No wonder kidney disease and all of that, but it's also sometimes bad habits and all of that. But even the food system we're consuming, it's terrible. So,
well, I want to agree with you more, Ben. But another thing that we should alert the public is that COVID is in, right? COVID is in big time, and the people should take care. We should go back to the observations that we had, washing hands and doing all the things that we used to do. If we can social distance as possible, fine. If there's any vaccines that we can have, I'll plead with the government, please. This is the time to be able to do one more round for some of us who only had 2, not Ben who had 4. we would need to basically get some jabs in the system because COVID is rampant now. And the symptoms of the COVID now is nothing compared to what we used to have before. Now it's taking some of the symptoms of typhoid. It's taking some of the symptoms of a lot of things. So let's all be careful.
All right. Well, this is where we have to knock off. We're bringing you sports up next. But Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic, as always, helping us bring you this segment. They're offering prostate screening for free if you're a man, fertility screening for free if you're a woman. You can reach out to them at any of their branches across Spintex, opposite the Shell signboard, Kumasi, Kronoma Bwe here, behind the Angel Educational Complex, Takrady Anaji State, Tema Community 22, Tichman Hanswa, and Esiaman Zama. Their call lines 0244 867 068 or 0274 234 321. Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic, the end to chronic disease. Sports is up next. You want to stay for that. Aston Villa, Liverpool, Barcelona, and all of those teams. We'll be bringing you details on that. Stay.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to AM Sports here with me, Muftaru Nabila Abdullahi. And Ghana will be hosting the Under-17 Wafubi Cup of Nations. That will be happening on Wednesday. The Black Starlets will be coming up against Cote d'Ivoire in their opening game. Head coach of the team, Laie Kingston, is hoping to qualify the team to the African Cup of Nations and subsequently secure a ticket to the FIFA Under-17 World Cup. For the first time in 7 years. There's more in this report by my colleague, Daniel Cranton.
It's the 21st of September, 1997. With just 3 minutes to go, the score is locked at 1-1 between Ghana and Brazil in the final of the FIFA Under-17 World Cup. Then, Brazilian wonder kid and soon-to-be Ballon d'Or winner Ronaldinho picks up the ball and threads an inch-perfect pass to teammate Andre, who scores the winner to break Ghanaian hearts.
Andre makes it 2-1 for Brazil and surely wins the Under-17 world title.
On the bench for Ghana that day is a certain 16-year-old midfielder by name Laie Kingston. He does not get his chance on that night in Cairo, but goes on to enjoy a stellar professional career where he represents Ghana's senior national team, the Black Stars, on 42 different occasions, featuring in 2 Africa Cup of Nations in 2006 and 2008. 27 years on from representing the Black Starlets at the World Cup, Kingston is now preparing to qualify the new generation of Ghana's Under-17 stars for the global stage, this time as head coach.
For me, I think it's a privilege to coach these boys. You know, it gives me goosebumps, especially when we started the trials. Our time is different, different approach. I can see my time, that time, the 100% effort that I put in, that now I'm the coach that I see these young boys giving the same thing. The way I was feeling that time and looking at them, I believe they're feeling more than what I felt that time because you can see the anger in them. So for me, I think it's a privilege to be part of people that is building this team. And so far, I think it's been amazing. You know, the boys have responded very, very well. It's different as a player and it's different from someone staying out. But what stood out is I've been there before. So most of the time, that's one thing that helps me and for me to have clear understanding about how they're feeling and all that. So I think it helps a lot.
It's been 7 years since the Black Starlets made it to the FIFA Under-17 World Cup. And this is the ultimate goal of Laie Kingston and his technical team. That journey begins with the Wafu Zone B Under-17 competition, which Ghana hosts.
So the level that we are in now, I think all the faces, they know all the faces. All they need now is more of motivation. You can see we've gone 14 games. We've played 14 games. We've scored 46 goals. We've conceded 12 goals. 3 draws. We've lost 1. Our first loss is against Russia. So for me, I think the level that we are in, all the boys, I believe in them. Where we are now, I'm very, very happy. I can't wait for 15th for us to start the tournament. I can't wait.
Ghana will kickstart the tournament with a game against Cote d'Ivoire on May 15th at the University of Ghana Stadium before taking on Benin days later in their final group game. The tournament serves as qualification to the Under-17 AFCON, which will qualify the team to the FIFA Under-17 World Cup if results go their way.
We have 20 players to represent Ghana, and that signature you can see testify in the tournament in Russia. Almost every player that went there played at least 80 minutes. That shows how confident we, the technical team, we have in the players. We're building a team, all-round team, that if this one is not there, the other one that comes in can fit in there. Also, we have two systems. We play in 3-4-3 and then 4-3-3. It depends on the personalities that we need to go on the pitch. That suits particular style. So for me, we have an all-round team. The 20 players that we have in camp now that are going to represent us, we believe in them.
For Kingston, style also plays a major factor in his coaching principles. He wants his team to not just play to win, but also to entertain.
We portraying something that if someone is sitting back, you can see the identity of the way Ghana plays. And you can see, previously we know Ghanaians are with agro style. And thanks to the FA and then the directorate, they've put up a playbook that says the agro thing. So you can see, in as much as me as a coach, I believe in transition, I believe in defending my box well and attacking my box well. I try to put in the agro when it's possible.
Kingston will be hoping to carry on his successes as a player to his managerial career. For Joy Sports, my name is Daniel Cranting.
This competition will be ending on May 29, and hopefully Lai Kingston and his boys will be in the grand finale and lay their hands on the ultimate trophy that will secure them qualification to the Under-17 African Cup of Nations. And just 4 days after the end of this competition, there will be the Confederation for African Athletics Zone 2 Seniors Championship. That will be happening at the same stadium, which is the University of Ghana Sports Stadium. About 450 athletes are expected in the country for that. And local organizing committee chairman for this competition, Dr. Kwame Baniako, has called for support to ensure that the organization of the event is a success.
Sometimes it's about how you package your events. So, for instance, the fact that this is an Olympic qualifier means that the rest of the world's attention will be on it. Confederation of African Athletics is focusing on this. That's why they are even shifting other countries' events to make sure that all of West Africa, the region 2 countries, will use this as their main preparation platform as qualifiers for the Olympics, and also prepare them for the African Championships, which will be the final opportunity for anybody to set a qualifying time or distance for the Olympics. So it's a major event. It depends on how our media friends help us package the competition. That's why we are giving out as much information as possible, so that corporate Ghana knows that when they associate themselves with this competition, it's a major platform for them. We're looking to do broadcast and also even set the signals to other competing countries. So, for instance, if Nigeria is interested, they get a chance to show this event. So imagine you having a location in the stadium, you're branding at the University of Ghana Stadium because of the ECOWAS Championship. Because it's an Olympic Games qualifier, it's a major event, and the exposure that corporate Ghana stands to get, you can actually put value on. So we are looking for everybody, the whole of corporate Ghana. No amount is small. There's a way we can package a benefit to each of our corporate partners, and that's the way we start. We need a few to come on board, and subsequently when we bring other competitions to Ghana, those who didn't come on board will realize they miss a lot. So that's the way you start working on the minds of corporate Ghana, and this LOC is going to do that. As many as can come on board, we make sure that they get the benefits that they were looking for. One of the challenges has always been that they put money in and they don't think they get value back. This is what we are assuring them, but that's why we also want to work with the media people in Ghana. Help us to market this, and more opportunities will come. You never know. African Championship, Athletics Championship might be on the line. The next thing, you look at the venue that was used for the World Release. Is it bigger than even the University of Ghana Stadium? Probably not. So why can't we host a world level competition? Because we have the facilities now.
This is our wrap up AM Sports here with me, Muftau Nabila Abla. Just before I go, let me say a happy birthday to my colleague Haruna Mubarak. And we say that may the Almighty Allah shower you with enormous blessings. And may whatever you desire in life manifest. This is our wrap up AM Sports here with me, Muftau Nabila Abla. We appreciate your time.
Welcome back on the AM show. And Sweetie Abochi and I are now going to be talking about COCOBOT. Yes, cocoa production, basically, and the effect of illegal mining on it. You know what's interesting? The IMF program we are under, or our program that the IMF is facilitating, also makes mention of the annual losses of COCOBOT. All the way, the last time COCOBOT recorded any gains, any profit, was in 2015. How many years is that? It's almost 10 years. Then you look at the trend of substantial fiscal risk. COCOBOT is one of those entities, about 8 of them, that face the substantial fiscal risk, according to the IMF. So today we're going to be looking into the issues and dilating on how we got here and what that entity, COCOBOT, has been doing about the situation so far vis-a-vis illegal mining. How do we deal
and even the farmers themselves, how they situate in this? I remember when I had a chat with Chibodako, she mentioned that she did some research paper, and most of these farmers are willing to give up their cocoa farms for some quick money from galamsey. So let's get into the conversation and see where this goes.
Let's do exactly that, but to set the platform for us to build upon, we have Isaac Kofi J, who joins the conversation. Isaac, good morning. So Isaac Kofi J is a data analyst with our team. Kofi, good morning.
Morning, Ben.
It's good to have you join the conversation. So just walk us through what we ought to know in respect of this situation with COCOBOT, illegal mining, and everything in between.
Well, so yesterday we said a lot about the illegal mining side of the whole thing. Talking about some 6 or 5 factors that globally is affecting cocoa production. And we made mention that, I mean, if you take away the swollen shoot disease and all of those things, there's one peculiar problem that is just Ghana's problem. I mean, that is illegal mining, which is almost cutting about 3 or 4 regions, making them ineligible to actually produce cocoa. Now, on your screens is COCOBOT's, financial statement or their position. In fact, they are a state-owned enterprise. So you may say that, I mean, profit is not really one of their thing, but if you look at an entity or a state-owned enterprise that is making losses close to 2.5 billion Ghana cedis, that's if I should be diplomatic and use $1 to, let's say, maybe 14 cedis. It means we are talking about an institution that, generate debt more than $100 or $150 million in 2023. Now, we decided to glean this data for our viewers to know how COCOBOT has been performing since 2012. And you can see the last time they made profits between 2015 and between 2012 and 2015. If we are counting back, just like you said, 2015 was the last time COCOBOT actually made profit. We do not have data on their 2020 statement in 2023, but if you look into the IMF document, we were able to estimate this profit, these losses. And COCOBOT losses have actually moved from somewhere around 300 million Ghana cedis now to close to 2.5 billion Ghana cedis. And that's something huge, and we need to actually talk about it. Cumulative losses within the period under review, that's from 2015 to 2022, is more than 2.5 billion. I mean, if you add all the other ones, you are getting close to almost 4 or 5 billion Ghana cedis. Now, the reason why this is also important is because Cocoa Board as an institution is supposed to make itself, attractive so that they can go to the international market. And yesterday we spoke about the syndicated loan. They need that money to buy cocoa. And then also in the domestic space, they run what they call the cocoa bill, in essence, a treasury bill being run by Cocoa Board. Now, we know that that market is now not really functioning like 2 or 3 years ago because of the debt restructuring that was done. And just like you said, if on your screens right now is the loans that Cocoa Board have actually taken, you can see a stratospheric rise from 2016 to the current figure in 2022. It's been ballooning. We are looking at now close to 19 billion Ghana cedis being the loans that Cocoa Board is taking. 2023-2024 planting season, Cocoa Board was looking for somewhere around $1.4 billion in terms of syndicated loan, but they were able to get only $800 million. Why? Because the board, or as an entity or as a financial entity, doesn't really look good in terms of their financials, and the fact that they are not able to pay their debt, and it was captured under the IMF program as one of the state-owned enterprises. They mentioned Cocoa Board, they mentioned Box, they mentioned GNPC, and a host of others. There are about 8, and I'm sure you will mention all of them. I mean, Cocoa Board was one of them, and according to the IMF, this is a state-owned enterprise that is racking up debt very quickly, and it's adding to the public debt stock of Ghana, and so therefore should be looked at in terms of their profitability issues. There's also one other thing that we need to talk about. That is what the IMF said about, a Cocoa Board in terms of certain things that they can no longer, do. And you have on your screens that Cocoa Board going forward is going to limit all of those things you see on your screens. Very crucial in terms of cocoa beans production. But because of the situation they find themselves in, Cocoa Board cannot directly, like they used to, be providing fertilizer and then also engaging in rural cocoa roads development and other quasi, functions that they used to do, mass spraying of cocoa and what have you. So this is the current, fiscal position of Cocoa Board, the entity responsible for the procurement of cocoa on behalf of the states, with almost a monopoly in this space. Yesterday, I was monitoring the space, and I saw that while government of Ghana and Ivory Coast are having difficulties with production and not getting what they want from the cocoa beans, other countries, other African countries like Cameroon and Nigeria are positioning themselves in a way that's making them also look attractive. They are the number 4 and number 5. If you take away, Ghana and Ivory Coast, 3 and 4, if I should put it that way. And they are positioning themselves to take advantage of the situation. But on the side of Ghana, we cannot even, assure our syndicated loan, the banks that will come together to form the syndicate, the beans for next season. Because, if you look at this year's output, it's been revised a number of times, and now we are looking at below 600,000 metric tons for the entire 2023-2024 season.
So, Kofi, right before you wrap up on this, what is the bottom line? What is the way forward? Briefly on that.
Well, government has its own way forward. They told the IMF that, they were going to publish a turnaround, going to publish a turnaround measures that they feel that will put Cocoa Board in a very good position. The deadline they gave was June 2023. Nobody knows the update. I'm sure the IMF are privy to this, and when they were assessing doing the Article 4 and then also reviewing our status, I'm sure they are satisfied with it. But we need to see going forward. One thing that we really need to tackle has to do with the illegal mining, which, if you look at Ivory Coast, Cameroon, Nigeria, all of these producing companies do not have this current problem that we have. And so the reason why our yields currently is going down and down and down is simply not just because of the swollen shoe disease or the fact that we have to deal with weather. All of these things can be mitigated, but look at the galamsey and the magnitude of lands that are being destroyed day in and day out, and the fact that farmlands are being flooded with muddy water and farmers are being compelled to sell their lands. That tells you that going forward, we may never have a future with the cocoa that used to be the number 2, bringing us over $3 billion every year in terms of forest. Now, when you even talk about the big guys who bring in forest every year, you talk about gold and oil, you can't even talk about cocoa. You need to start talking about remittances or tourism. Cocoa has been relegated because of some of these things going on, and illegal mining is really, really killing this industry in Ghana, Ben.
Thank you, Kofi. That is Isaac Kofi Ajay, data analyst with our team, joining the conversation.
We can
right
no longer
there.
mention cocoa without mentioning illegal mining. And that's where we are now.
They've become synonymous.
Yeah.
They are like twins now.
And it doesn't look like this problem is going away.
In fact, conjoined twins, to be specific. It is a really sad situation.
Cocoa, Ghana and cocoa. At some point, that was it.
Yeah, now it's cocoa
We
and
were
illegal
forced
mining.
to contend with, and now it's cocoa and illegal mining.
But let's bring in our guests who are joining us this morning. We have Professor Michael Kwateng. He is head Cocoa Protection at Desk Cocoa Board. This used to be the anti-illegal mining desk at Cocoa Board. Good morning, sir. Do we have Prof?
Please
Hello,
unmute.
Professor Kwateng, if you can hear me. Good morning. Professor Kwateng, you would have to unmute. Unmute, please. All right, so we'll try to work on the connection with Professor Kwateng. Let me also see whether we have Professor Fred Janku. Do we have Professor Janku?
Yes. Good morning to you.
All right, thanks to have you. It's good to have you, I should say. And then Professor Hagan as well, Julius Hagan, Vice Dean, School of Agriculture, University of Cape Coast. Prof, good morning.
Yeah, good morning.
All right. And let me just add that Professor Fred Janku is a researcher at the Economics Division of ISSA. All of you joining the conversation. We'll also have someone on the ground who actually farms, just to create the perspective of what is happening down there, to know what exactly is going on. But let me start with you. Professor Kwateng, let me just get back. Can you hear me now? Can you? I just want to be sure you're with us.
Yes, I can hear you.
All right. It's good to have you join the conversation. I'll start with you, Professor Kwateng, because you have headed this cocoa protection desk at Cocoa Board, which used to be the anti-illegal mining desk. Over the years, especially, let's say, since 2020, what are some of the experiences you have had in terms of dealing with cocoa production vis-a-vis illegal mining? What can you share with us?
Thank you very much, and extend my greetings to all your viewers. Okay, so Cocoa Board 2 years ago set up the decks, because of the activities of these illegal miners. The problem was becoming devastating, so Cocoa Board saw the need to create a desk to help fight these miners. And that's where I came in. In fact, so for the past 2 years, the DEX or the Cocoa Board management is putting in a lot of measures to ensure that the activities of illegal mining, is curtailed.
What are these measures?
Why Cocoa Board, setting up an anti-illegal mining? We all know these mining activities started not today.
Professor Kwateng, I need to interject here. You said Cocoa Board is putting in a lot of measures to curtail the effects of illegal mining. What are some of these measures? Could you share with us?
Yeah, so that's why I'm coming in. We've set up a desk, and that is the first thing Cocoa Board has done to ensure that the desk come out with measures, and then to fight these illegal mining activities in our cocoa regions. Yes, so the first thing we had to do, or we are doing, is engaging cocoa farmers, because we know these mining activities is destroying almost every cocoa region in Ghana here. And when we are talking about cocoa region, we are talking about 7 regions in Ghana. We are talking about Ashanti, we are talking about Eastern, we are talking about Western, South, Western, North, and then the Bronx have regions, and then Volta region. Now, we are engaging these farmers to educate them on the effects of these mining activities. Because mostly what we see is that these miners will go down there, convince these farmers to sell their cocoa farms to them. Some of them will even intimidate them to give out their farms. So we are giving them the tool in terms of knowledge to even engage the miners as to the legitimacy of their license and all that.
Professor Kwating, just hold it there. You're talking about legitimacy of licenses and all of that. When you have someone come to your farm wielding guns, wielding machetes, it's not that you're fully aware of this, threatening you. And in fact, they sometimes intentionally create gullies or whatever onto your farm. Some of them...
Yes, I'm coming
No, hold for me. Let me create the picture. Some of them would, all around your farm, they would mine so that it is like an island. Chemicals are leaching onto your land. You can't do anything about it. Some of them will intentionally flood your land. I mean, in such instances, what do? Are you now going to tell them ask about whether they have a license or not?
Yeah, so that's why I'm coming there, because the miners, they are not only galamsey. We have even people, organizations that have been given license to mine. And, they don't go through the due process. So where you are talking about is the galamsey. Now the galamsey activities, yes, that is what is happening. And for that, this is beyond cocoa board. There should be a task force, to prevent this situation. Now, most of them, what we've told them is to report the issues to the nearest police stations. And then cocoa board, they also report to our desks in every region. Then we take it up. Now, cocoa board, we've come out, or we are now enforcing the Economic Plant Protection Act, which is the only act that is, protecting cocoa. Whenever issue of this comes to our desks, we take it up, and then we ask our lawyers to intervene by sending them to courts. And then also some of the recognized ones, we engage them and then take the process from there. So it's not like only galamsey, but we also have
Hello, Professor Kwating.
Community miners, and then individual compeller.
Yes, we lost you briefly. You can go ahead.
Yes. So the activities of the illegal mining, it's very devastating. And cocoa board, we are doing a lot. Now, with the recent increment
I just have to interject again. Sometimes it gets problematic when we're having conversations with the likes of you, because guess what? I am here in my studio informing people, right? My role is to disseminate information and create the right analysis. It is your job to get the work done in conjunction with other institutions. But when people like you who have some power to some extent also come and join us and lament just as much as we are, then there's a problem. If you don't know the way forward, if you can't handle the situation, then where are we headed?
Yes, we are not lamenting. Cocoa board, we are putting in pragmatic measures, and these measures are, I can tell you, they are earning results. Recently, you heard most of the issues have been sent to courts, and that is one of the efforts we are putting in. We've started engaging, Mineral Commission and other agencies to ensure that these activities, are stopped. So
how long has it been since you've been engaging the minerals?
Coming to public.
How long has it been since you've been engaging the Minerals Commission?
Since last year. since last year. I've had meetings with their directors on the issue. One of the major issue that came on board is the processes for securing licensing. And they are supposed to, miners are supposed to contact Cocoa Board whenever there's a cocoa farms in the concession, but they don't do it. And it is the responsibility of the Mineral Commission to ensure that they go according to what have been prescribed to them, but they don't do that. But so now we are.
Professor Kwating, and I'm sorry I'm doing this, but for the sake of the conversation and time, you actually expect these miners to inform Cocoa Board that there are cocoa farms within their jurisdictions or where they've been allowed, whether legally or illegally. You actually expect them to come forward and say it and not take advantage of the situation. That's what you're telling me.
No, Cocoa Board will not get to know whether a concession has been given to a miner or an individual. So what we are saying is that...
No, my problem is that the fact that you actually expect the miners who benefit from this to come and tell you that, oh, there's a cocoa farm in the catchment area we're operating in. And so what? Do you really expect them to do that?
That is why I'm saying that we are engaging, the regulator, which is the Mineral Commission, who issued the license, to do that, because it is stated in their regulations that they are supposed to contact the relevant bodies, but they don't go according to this regulation. So we are engaging them. In fact, we are also trying as much as possible to reach out to all the mining agencies, the registered ones. With the galamsey, it's a bit difficult because just as you painted, you'll be in your farm and then they will come with guns and all that. So the farmer becomes handicapped to handle the situation. And with this, we are also engaging the security agencies to come on board. So Cocoa Board, we are putting in measures to ensure that the activities of this illegal mining is minimized.
Professor Kwating, we would have to let you go at some point and bring in another guest, but you seem to be saying
that...
But
Prof, stay with us. You're not taking leave of us yet. We're just moving to our next guest.
You say you've been engaging farmers and engaging stakeholders, and only just last year. But this issue is not just coming up last year. For over 7 years.
And that's exactly the point.
So what have you been doing to nip it in the bud that at this point, look at the images we are seeing on our screens now, it is beyond repair?
Yes. Cocoa Board, like I said earlier on, came out with a desk about a year ago. But in Ghana, we all know that we have agencies that were fighting this illegal mining. Even governments came out with a task force to fight it. So Cocoa Board, until we were given the green light to set up the decks, we couldn't go in. So that is how come we couldn't come out early to set up the decks and fight this. We are also a government institution, even though somehow we are autonomous, but we are regulated by the law. So the board of directors cannot just come out and say that let's go and fight galamsey. There are technicalities, involved in this.
Let's also bring in Professor Janku on this. Prof, I don't know whether you're convinced by what has been said so far by Professor Kwating on where Cocoa Board has been doing, but if you take away climate change and it's impacting every part of the world, galamsey seems to be our Achilles heel. It's peculiar to us. Other African countries have their own problems, but not on this scale. What is your reading of the situation? And look, if you look at the trajectory of the losses, the dwindling tonnage that we produce by way of cocoa, it's got to the point where we're producing about estimated 13% versus Cote d'Ivoire producing over 43%. That's a 30% gap. Some have said that by 2025 we could hit 10%. What is your take on this?
All right, thank you very much, and greetings to your listeners. So let me say that now we are discussing the issue of galamsey and illegal mining in general, and its implications for cocoa production. And I would argue that this issue is perhaps beyond Cocoa Board. Why do I say so? as you know, we've been trying as a country, I mean, even from the office of the president setting up task force to fight galamsey or illegal mining over the past how many years? 6 years, 7 years, and we have not made progress. So I do not see how, if the president himself, his office, and all the resources that are available to them are not being able to fight galamsey the way they should, why should we expect COCOBOD to be able to do that? And that would be my question. So it's not that I'm convinced with his responses, but it seems to me that the issue is beyond COCOBOD if the president himself and his office have not been able to fight it, right? So that's my first point, the first point that I would make, that it will not take COCOBOD alone to be able to deal with it. It has to take, the president, it has to take all the institutions that are available. And the president is the most powerful person in this country. Let's face it, right? So if he's not dealing with it appropriately like he promised, why should we expect COCOBOD to deal with it? But I would like to also perhaps broaden the discussion a little bit to deal with the general issue of environmental concern. So it's not just cocoa, it's remember that Ghana exports, I think, about 62% of our cocoa to the EU. And recently the EU has come up with a regulation that anybody who is buying cocoa from any country, including Ghana, would have to show that this cocoa meets certain environmental, regulations, particularly deforestation. But I will not be surprised if the EU extends this regulation to cover things that are happening now in the cocoa sector. What it will mean is that even if we produce cocoa, we increase our production, but we cannot show that this cocoa has been produced in an environmentally friendly manner, we may not be able to enter the EU market, right? So it's not just the production of it, increasing production, but making sure that we produce this cocoa in an environmentally friendly manner. And I'm afraid that the whole issue of galamsey may be a threat to this environmental, sustainability issues that the EU regulations are coming up with.
All right.
So and the interesting bit there, just to add, Sweetie, and Ghana is known for premium quality cocoa. Do you get it? In fact, we stand to lose more because it's not just about increasing the quantity, it's about the quality of our cocoa. So if it's getting watered down by galamsey, it means you are losing your niche, and just merely producing more may not benefit you.
Right. So hold for me. Let me bring in Professor Julius Hagan now. Professor Julius Hagan, Professor Kwarteng is saying that they've been engaging stakeholders and farmers. Professor Fred Janku is saying that the issue is beyond COCOBOD. We are nearly at a point where we are beyond redemption. What do you say from where you sit as a Vice Dean for the School of Agriculture? What's your reading of all of this?
Yeah, good morning. Let me extend my greetings to your viewers and your listeners. I hope you can hear me.
Yes, we can.
Yeah, thank you very much for the opportunity. Listening to the earlier speakers, it sounded a bit worrying, but I don't think the issue is new to most of us, because we've been talking about galamsey since time immemorial. And now that the issue is becoming serious because it's affecting the mainstay of the economy, that is cocoa. Looking at what has been happening and what COCOBOD is expected to do, as just like the second speaker said, the issue is bigger than COCOBOD because there are a lot of stakeholders involved in all this. Any business that booms means there's a demand, high demand for that particular business. And galamsey will continue to boom because there's high demand for gold, whether legal or illegal. Whichever way you get the gold, you get people to buy. Sometimes you go to the communities where these galamsey activities take place. The community itself, most of the people in the community themselves, when you want to move the galamseys away, some of them resist. Why? Because to them, It's a job. It's creating a lot of jobs for them. So it's an issue. I'm not too sure how, but we need to take a stand as a country. We need to decide whether we want money from galamsey or money from cocoa. If you want money from cocoa, then you have no choice than to block any other channels that will impede cocoa production. As I sit here, my worry now is not only about production, but about quality. Because most of the water bodies around are now polluted. And the chemicals in such waters are such that some of them are very poisonous. If they are poisonous, and we have cocoa trees there, which means in the next maybe 10 years to come, we may be producing a lot of cocoa, but the quality would have been compromised.
Right.
And that is going to have a serious implication on the nation's economy. If you have cocoa and the quality cannot be guaranteed, which means you cannot even sell. That is my worry now. So we have to take a drastic decision as a country, not only the government, the communities, those who sell the land. Because sometimes even the farmers themselves are willing to sell their lands to galamseyers. Because if I sell my land to a galamsey, I get 10 times more what I'll get from cocoa. And a rational human being, unless the person is over-patriotic, other than that, the farmer will be willing to sell the land to a galamsey and get the money and leave the community, go and do something else. So it's bigger than what we we are talking about. That's how I see it.
All right, thank you. But still hold for me. So basically, Cocoa Board is not credit-worthy. They are in debt. And there's dwindling quality, deteriorating quantity. And the people who are at the heart of all of this are the farmers themselves. In the studio with us is Nana Obuedie Boateng Bonsu II, former general, president of the Concerned Farmers Association of Ghana. Nana Obuedie, you're welcome.
My pleasure.
You've been following the
I'm sure he's laughing a bit because of how you pronounce this name. Nana Obuedie.
Nana Obuedie. Okay, Nana Obuedie. Akwaba.
Yeah.
How are the farmers doing?
The farmers are doing great. Now there's rains now, so the farmers are really enjoying their part. Others have prepared their lands that they are planting. A few things, those that they went in for these cocoa seedlings are also doing their planting and other things. So it is ongoing. Those that they are doing harvesting are also doing harvesting. Pruning is going on here and there. So everything is normal going. The major thing is what you are talking about.
So we know that galamsey is greatly affecting the cocoa production. From where you sit, can you paint a picture of exactly how this is affecting your work as farmers?
It is very dangerous, but let me send greetings to cocoa farmers across the country that they are watching me this morning, and then to the executive at the Cocoa Board, those that they are also following us, giving helps to us for we to do what we are supposed to do. And then a big thanks to Honorable Fifi Boafo for his big support on our identification of community challenges, talking to these galamseyers. For now, when you go to the ground, galamsey has swallowed the cocoa, the backbone of our economy. It has swallowed it. All because I would take Eastern region, because Accra is close to Eastern region. When you go to Eastern region, a place like the Achim area, let's say Kwabing and the rest, is full of galamsey. And another scary thing that is happening is they've dug the holes around within the forest, which is uncovered, left just like that. People are just dying each and every day. They do die. The assembly member within the area lost his grandchild, all because we're going to the farm.
And so you can easily fall into the pit.
Exactly.
In fact, we just showed footage of a farm where pits have been dug on a cocoa farm.
Yes.
So, I mean...
And the authorities or those involved have put in wax in their ears. We've reported this series of report.
When you say we've reported this, to whom?
To the police and to where it's supposed to go. Cocoa Board have done their part. Cocoa Board, their main focus is to give education, get cocoa farmers seedlings, and at the end of the day, give them the road path. Cocoa Board don't control the lands of cocoa farms.
Yeah.
They don't own it. Because it is an economic situation, a farmer can choose to use his land to do anything that he wants to do.
Exactly.
But Cocoa Board owns the trees. If I say Cocoa Board, I'm talking about the state owns the trees.
Yeah.
So why is it that trees that it's in our law that before you cut down a tree, you need a permit to do that? As I'm speaking to you, the police have become a toothless bulldog, and they are doing nothing about the incident that has been happening.
In some instances, we know that sometimes...
we have to blame the security sector. I will put all the blames on the security sector. Because they are there to protect lives and property. And others are in there destroying it, and they are watching it under their nose.
In other words, they see it happening, and they're just letting it happen. But quick one. You are the former president of this association, this group.
I'm not a former, I'm still the president.
You're still the president. Yeah. Okay. Now, let me find out from you, where exactly do you have your farms, your cocoa farms?
I have one at Eskesu, I have one at Bonsu II in the Western North region.
Western North region?
Yeah, and then Eastern region.
Have your farms been affected?
No, it hasn't.
They haven't?
You dare not get close to it.
Why?
Why? Because that is my life, and I'm protecting it.
How do you protect your farms?
I protect it by each and every day. I have a house there. A farmer, you need to be in your house. You need to stay within the farm. During the olden days, our forefathers that did the cocoa farms within the Bonsu and then the Jaboso and then Akontoma, Sankogwa and the rest, they were having, houses within the farm. So at the end of the day, when they come to Accra and they said, I'm going back to the village, they are not going anywhere, but they are going to their cocoa farm, they're going to visit, and they have a place to stay. So when you live there, it is hardly for somebody to just come within maybe, let's say, dawn to come and do such a practice.
I get that, which is a good part of it, but why I'm asking that is how you're protecting it. Because for some of these farmers, they come with guns. You can be on the farm. You can have your residents there. They're coming with guns and machetes. You know this. Yeah. You know this for a fact. Yeah. So what do? Do you also have arms or something? How are you able to?
I don't have arms, but the name alone will scare you, and then my farm, you dare not get close to it. I've been an advocacy.
You have some power.
Yeah, I've been an advocacy for this organization for so many years. Not this government alone, but the past government. We started this a long time, almost 25 years ago, that we started this advocacy for this cocoa and this galamsey and then rubber issue, right? But the thing is, those that they are selling out their cocoa for the galamseys and other things, some of them, it is not their will. I have an evidence to prove which the national security, they are so serious and then they are working for the state, have to go for the people. Right. Because a global award cocoa winning farm,
wow,
at Siakwa or Chebi around that side, was given a concession, was given a concession just to destroy a whole global cocoa winning farm. And the farm belongs to who? Abraham Eduse, Savior Church of Ghana. We come in, we stood in, and then we stopped the people. And that is the thing, because at the end, you will be there, and then they will say that the place has been given a concession. So you have nothing to do. Those that they are not strong enough, they will just go with arms, and then they will just go and clear them.
And this is where the question really comes in, because when you are talking about these things happening, you ask yourself, the Minerals Commission, among others, how is it possible? You know, we have Professor Kwarteng, who is on that. He is head of the Cocoa Protection Desk, which used to be the anti-illegal mining desk, as far as Cocoa Board is concerned. You ask yourself, what are the engagements, Cocoa Board Minerals Commission? Because you say, yes, Cocoa Board may not have control, but how is the Minerals Commission giving out some of these parcels of land for mining? And if it's illegal, why are all these things happening? Knowing very well that there are cocoa producing areas in that catchment area. I don't get it.
Yeah, we do have this Kakum forest that was even given out. So there's no wonder that maybe cocoa is just a peanut. They will just give it out. That is how they see it. That is how they see it. Because the letter that we had from the authority, from the presidency, just to get to the Minerals Commission to engage the young people, we came out with a proposal, a program, identification of community challenges on the cocoa growing area to convert those galamseys. When the president said we should place ban on galamseys, asked that, what was the next alternative? Nothing. They just said it like that. But at the end of the day, we approached some of the people. I approached Honorable Fifi Boafo. They supported us. He gave us some few items that we went out to give to, this galamsey, the young people, and some of them stay away from this.
Fifi Boafo gave you items to give to the galamsey.
If I say item, not a physical item, but a support, he gave us a support, which at the end of the day, it helps the young people that, as I'm speaking, they are no more with the galamsey, but then at the end of the day, they are doing agriculture. Honorable First Sowa is my witness. I was at Dunkwa, one of friend, just to meet the galamseyers, to talk to them. The DC at that side, at that time, told me that I should leave the place. I should engage the young people.
Who is this DC? Do you remember the name?
That is the past DC. I don't remember because of his rudeness. I just deleted everything from, you see, what he did. And but he don't know that at the end of the day, we went to the Central Regional Minister to report ourselves that this is what we are here to do in his region. The president said we should place ban. He has placed ban on the galamseyers. And now there's no more activity again. And what are these people doing? There was a thief, phone thefts and other things within the precinct area, that is the Dunkwa on offense side. When you are going around and you have your bags and other things with you, you don't take time. Others will just take it because it is not Ghanaians. We have foreigners that they also came in to do this kind of illegal activity, and they have to go back. I helped some of the people by the support of Honorable Fifi Boafu and then Dr. Akotefrie, who was the Agric Minister at that time, to move these young people from that side to their various homes. That was what we were doing. So if the Minerals Commission were able to support us enough, I think like this galamsey thing, it is just a peanut. It's just a tip of an iceberg on me. I can stop galamsey within a few days.
Yeah.
Not months, a few days. I said there's something that the president have to watch. I've said it several times, but nobody is serious to send me to the presidency or for the president to come and have a document or maybe the video or whatever that I have.
Do you think that that's what it takes now? For the president to step in, because you're calling the security people.
The security people, we should forget about them because they are not working.
These institutions are not working.
I said they are not working.
Right.
They are not working.
So is that what it would take for the president to come in before these issues go away?
Exactly. It is the president that have to speak. When he said it is locked down, who else to say it is not locked down? It is locked up. We have to go down. Do you get it? So it is the president. When the president come with a pronouncement or other things,
but wait. We'll get to our other guests, but Nana, just a quick one. You say it will take the president, right?
Yeah.
The president in 2017, I believe, if memory serves, put his presidency on the line. We're in 2024. His tenure is ending. And the president is the solution to this problem?
Yeah, what I'm saying is, some of the report that doesn't go to the presidency. They lie to the president.
Are you sure about
Yes,
that?
they lie to the president.
Who lies?
Professor Frimpong Boateng's report got to the president.
Fine, that one, it got to the president. Fine.
They sat on it for 2 years.
Yes, but what happened? He said 2 years. So it means that it doesn't reach. Things that happens don't go to the presidency directly.
Who is lying to the president?
I'm saying that the authority, those in charge, because for Cocoa Board, they are doing their best. What they are supposed to do is what they are doing. They are not entitled of our lands. It is an individuals. There was a law which is not being enforced because we made a statement, and even Gaja came out with a petition to Parliament because we said that we are not writing any letter to Parliament because Parliament have become an institution or a stagnant a section or sector which we are not hearing from them because we voted for them for at the end of the day to come out with a productive thing. But there's a lot of destruction. The backbone of our economy, it is being destroyed. And how many parliamentarians have we heard them talking about this? But they sit down and discuss the LGBTQ+, which will not put food on our table. It is dangerous. It is very dangerous. Where the cocoa section is going, if care is not taken, we don't have to blame the Cocoa Board. They are doing their part. I have been on the ground for so many years. When you go to a place, they say that there has been given a concession. And when you see the kind of people with arms, if it was not Kofi Wayo, like I am for it, I was being shot, like they will kill me.
You don't say.
Yeah. Because the Chinese guy pulled a gun.
From where you said, just briefly, we have to, are there politicians involved in this?
Well, I will not say that there's a politician, but at the end of the day, the police are scared to arrest some people. The police are toothless, they are harmless.
Are there chiefs involved in this?
There are no chiefs, because when you go to a place like Dunkwa, I went to the chief to discuss with the chief, and the chief was so happy. And then even the back of the chief's house, they were doing the galamsey. They were doing it.
They were doing galamsey behind the chief's palace.
Not the chief's palace, the chief's house. They were doing it. And the chiefs have nothing to say. He's powerless. The chief is powerless. So at the end of the day, there are people behind this which we have to sit down with the president and tell the president, Mr. President, before you become the president of this state, he said, we should be citizens by not spectator. And we know that we are very good citizens of this land. And there are things that you need to know. And those that you've put them in charge of the galamsey point, they are not doing the right thing. They are not giving the right report. every report from the galamsey section that get to the presidency is false. It's not true. I'm telling you.
Professor Kwarteng, let me just bring in this bit. I wanted you not to miss this opportunity right after he said what he did. Are you aware of some of the things he's talking about and these reports? I don't know what your communications are with Mr. President. Nana Obuadia feels it will take the president to bring this to an end. Are you in consonance with that? Professor Kwarteng, that's for you. Please unmute, Prof.
But while he resolves that...
Professor Kwarteng, please unmute so we can hear what you're saying. All right.
What he's saying is very true. It's very true. Yes, the issue, we need a president to step in. The chiefs and then the DCs all must come on board. Because especially the DCs, they are the heads of the Security Council in every district. Police are even afraid at times to go in because of the people behind these galamsey issues. So president must step in, issue a word, and then I think this thing will be a thing of the past. Our parliament chiefs, they also have a role to play. They have a role to play. Because, for instance, when you come to Ashanti region, and Otumfuo should come in to say that there shouldn't be any galamsey on my land. I think, looking at the way people respecting the chiefs, nobody would dare to do that. So the issue, to me, we all need to come on board. Not even only the president, the MPs, the DC, the securities. Most of these security personnel, they will go and extort from these miners and leave them. There was an issue at Ashanti region where myself, I was around, and he came in the media, he even reported. So these are the issues we need to address. Cocoa Board will do its part. Now with the enforcement of the Economic Crime Protection Act, which Cocoa Board is now enforcing, even we will ask why we are not enforcing this law. It was passed in 1979. But the fact of the issue is that wherever there's gold, there's cocoa. So I'm sure that is why this thing couldn't, materialize. But now that Cocoa Board, we've taken it up, and we are ensuring that anybody who destroys cocoa, but the law says nobody has a right to destroy any cocoa tree without, seeking permission from the sector minister or Cocoa Board. So we are enforcing this, and we will continue to, implement all our measures to ensure that, we get to where we want to get to.
I just find it a bit, Professor Kwasi, I find it a bit difficult to understand that these issues have been going on for years. The president himself said he's put his presidency on the line. And somehow you believe that he's not aware of the gravity of the situation. And somehow we have to find a way and bring him in before this issue is resolved. Are you saying from your desk, where you were, head of Cocoa Protection Desk, there was no access to the office of the president to put these issues on his table? Head of Cocoa Protection Desk.
I remember, I report to, the chief executive, to the board. So there's a process that we need to go through. I cannot straight, move to work to president's office without, approval for my directives. So there's a process, and I believe they've been communicating with the presidency. Recently, they requested a certain report, which we made it available to them. So now, that is what I'm saying. For now, I'm sure they are all coming in to ensure that we have the situation. Previously, I think they were deaf ears, but now I can tell you that they are doing their best.
Right. Professor Alfred Janku, if you're still with us, these issues that are coming up from, the farmers themselves, the office, head of Cocoa Desk, and now the issue about only the presidency has to step in before we can, see some sort of solution. Do you agree with what they're saying? Do you believe that the president is all this is happening oblivious to the president?
Okay, so I agree that we need some support from the top, and from the top I mean the president and the institutions involved. However, I do not believe that it would take only the president's office to get the issues resolved. It would take us as a society, and what I mean is, one of the panelists was mentioning that sometimes the farmers themselves, for economic reasons, prefer to give out their land to mining activities, right? So what does the law say? Does the law say that if you're a cocoa farmer and there is, some mineral on your land, does the law give you the power to give out your land for mining? That's one question. The other thing is, even if the law does not allow that to happen, but that is what is happening because there is very weak enforcement of the laws and the regulations. So the issue really is, we've been saying this over and over again, if our institutions do not do their job, and the Nana at the studio was mentioning how the security institutions and so on sometimes seem to be compromised because there is a powerful individual in society who is involved in the process and therefore they cannot act. So long as we have a society where the laws and the rules do not work because of powerful people in powerful places who are connected even to the office of the president, I'm afraid that we will keep talking about this, but nothing will get resolved until we make the law a respecter of no persons, until we make the law work. We would come back again next year, 2 years' time, and talking about the same thing again, and nothing will happen.
Prof, talking about making the law work, talking about making our regulations bite, what else can be done? The president put his presidency on the line. We've had different schemes, different names to combat galamsey. We've had Cocoa Board trying to intervene. We've had reports like the one from Professor Frimpong Boateng. We've had CSOs go at this. We've had media campaigns go at this. What else can be done?
All right. Recently, in one of our research, what we're trying to do is to roll out a kind of experiment to see how we can use the communities themselves as a tool for protecting their lands and preventing galamsey. So from the school level, right, to the communities, how can we empower the communities themselves to stand up against galamsey? And as well as going through, like one of the panelists said, the chiefs, right? Because it seems that at the level of society, when the society comes together and say, well, we agree, we are not going to allow this to happen, and those communities stand up for themselves and say that we will not allow it. It will be one of the tools that we can use, empowering people at the community level to stand up against the menace.
What does this empowerment look like? But let me throw that question to Nana in the studio. Because not all these cocoa farmers giving up their lands are doing so under duress. Some of them are willingly giving away their lands because of economic situations like you mentioned. What kind of empowerment can we provide these farmers so that they understand the situation we're in?
Well, after the empowerment, we've started empowering them already. And even recently with the cocoa price that the Cocoa Board just issued has also empowered a lot of cocoa farmers and people that they are even not in cocoa
Empowered
production.
how? What are you calling empowerment?
All because at first we're getting, the money that we're getting was not enough. Now the money is like, let's say, ×2. So at the end of the day, it will move you, motivate you in a way just to do the job. But then there was another aspect which...
just a quick one. You say the money wasn't enough, so is it enough now?
What I'm saying is Oliver Twist asked for more. What we are demanding, we demand more because at the end of the day, with this galamsey issue that has popped in here and there, there's a lot of challenges that we are going to. We need to buy waters and other things for our farm, for irrigation purposes and other things, which is costing us. So at the end of the day, if the government increase it, I think it will be good for us. But then, going back with what you are saying, we are using these projectors and other things, going around, showing them videos, how the effect on galamsey and the effect that will come to them, and then how important that cocoa is to them. So this is what we are doing. That is why we are saying that we've not had a direct support, let's say, from the institution, but at the end of the day, personality like the Fifi Boafu and the rest, hearing of our stories and other things, are supporting us in a way for we to reach most of the various farmers, to also to show them, to educate them what has been happening on the ground. But it is a serious matter which we need to discuss, because if really we want to combat this, this galamsey, we need to educate the people. It's not about policing. It's not about using the military with the guns and other things for the people. Others go there. We heard the report, series of reports, that when they go, they just go and dupe the people, take their monies and other things, which I think it is ungodly, which we need. We came in a different way by educating them, telling them what the importance of what they are doing. If I say we, I'm talking about the Concerned Farmers Association of Ghana. Okay. We named our project Identification of Community Challenges. So we get to know their challenges that they are facing and then to solve it. So we are going with a solution. So a lot of young people, let's say almost thousands of people that we moved them from the other places. I gave them the video, if they can even show it, that they to move. We've converted them now to farmers, which they are now farmers. Right. So the serious matter is, you can't just say that they should stop the galamsey. What alternative have you put it online?
And that is where the devil is. That is where you expect government to come in. Yeah. But I have a quick question for you. How big is your farm?
I have 4 acres here. I have 15 acres in the Western North.
When you say 4 acres here, Greater Accra?
No, not in Accra. I'm talking about Eastern region.
Eastern region?
Yeah, sure.
Right. Where you say you stay, right?
Yeah.
How many acres are you cultivating there?
It's 4 acres.
4 acres?
Yeah.
How do you irrigate your farm?
My farm, I do have a little bit of stream that pass by, which is not being contaminated.
It's not being contaminated?
It's not being contaminated. So that is what we use for the irrigation purposes. And even at the end, I don't even need irrigation for now, because all my trees are fully grown, they are well, so I don't need it. The only thing that I need to do is the little vegetables that I also add up to it to sell, to make and daily ends. That is what I use that irrigation purposes for. So that is what is happening.
We've heard how, and we've seen how some farmers have to fall on as much as pure water sachets.
Yeah.
Carry them from home to the farm.
Yeah.
You can imagine, pure water sachet, 500 milliliters.
Yeah.
How many of those would you use to just water even one tree? Is that something you've seen?
I've seen a lot of them. It is something that I've been advising the farmer that one, you are just motivating yourself. It will not reach anywhere. It's just, we call it self-motivation, because even the whole, if it is 500, it is 30 pieces inside. So 500 times 30, how many liters do we have in it? They get it. And how many liters do you need even to get to the ground for the root just to tap it? So at the end of the day, it is just something that I call it motivation to do. But Cocoa Board have, how do you call it, a machine, which is at the Western North region, Debiso, which their job is to drill boreholes within the various farms for them to get water for the irrigation purposes, which I think maybe, I don't know whether it is sport or so, but then I saw the vehicle at the check office.
We've shown a video. I don't know if our director can show. I saw a video of a farm, just so you can corroborate whether it is those mechanisms or those holes you are talking about, or whether that is the work of galamseyers. I'm not too sure. If we can show that video there, because it has
the pit,
some sort of trenches, pits that
are... Yeah, it is galamsey. It is galamsey.
Those ones are galamsey.
Those ones are galamsey. But just that at that side, there's no water. That place, maybe the water, the stream is far away from where the cocoa thing is. They get it, yeah. So maybe they will pick it up from that side and then go and wash it within the water. Right. But when you go to...
That's what I'm talking about.
Yes, they will just pick it from here and then go and wash it within the stream. But when you get
so this is the work of galamsey.
This is the work of galamsey. This is a real galamsey thing that they are doing. Right. So when you do something like this, you destroy the cocoa.
Yeah.
Because all the root is gone.
Yeah.
They get it, and it will not survive. And let's say this cocoa tree might be a little bit of aged, small, not too much old, but then I think it has gone up a little bit. But the situation is, Cocoa Board need to have a serious monitoring for farmers, because a lot of people are not farmers. I call them political farmers. They go in for these seedlings, place them on their land, and then later tell, the galamseyers that they have a land which there's cocoa in it. And then they will just come and do what? clear the whole place and they make money out of it. Because every cocoa tree that is being cut off, they replace it. They just give you money. They compensate you. So that is what is happening. So before Cocoa Board also gives seedlings out, Cocoa Board have to be very careful and then know the kind of people that they are giving their seedlings out. They are the only government that came that increased the production of seedlings under the history of our cocoa production. They are the only people that have increased. But at the end of the day, our cocoa production is declining. So why is it declining? Why are we producing a lot of cocoa seedlings and then yes, we are not getting the beans that we want? So the fault is from where? The galamsey that it has been happening. And then the cut down, not even the galamsey alone, because we have this, when you go to the Esekesu area, a whole mile square of a land was given for a rubber plantation just to destroy it. So they destroyed the whole place and plant rubber, which we followed it several times. They said there are big people behind it. So all this thing that has been happening, that's why I'm saying that the police are not helping. Because the police within, under the watch of the police were even helping some of the people to do these illegal activities.
Right.
To cut down their trees.
We've seen some of the footage and all of that and had incidents. But before, sweetie, we turn our gaze to solutions, I also want you to consider this. Mechanization and the failure to look at how do you, when your pods are, when your cocoa pods are ready, right? The shelling and everything. How do you go about it? Do you use the same rudimentary processes?
Oh, no. I am into food packaging and processing. I'm into agro processing. I do compost and a whole lot of things. So the pod that is there, I don't leave it there. I just carry all the pod and then come and then add value to it and then sell to make money. So when you go to the cocoa farm...
But how do you do your shelling? Do you have a machine?
I don't use a machine. There's a normal process of hand cut.
And that's the thing.
Yeah.
Because look at the mechanized forms can do what? 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 times of what you could do. Maybe what you would spend an entire day doing could be done in 30 minutes or 1 hour. And that is where Cocoa Board comes in again. In terms of, you can't keep doing things for how many decades now, the same old way, and expect to increase your production. You are suffering when it comes to the seedlings, like you said, sometimes it's ending in the wrong hands. You don't have a mechanized process. Other countries are catching up with you. Illegal mining is combating you. Climate change is affecting you. How do you expect? Sometimes I think, how can you have all these problems and think you'll be increasing production?
Yeah, it's because the farmers are not together. That is a problem. The farmers' front has been broken. It is not together because if we are together in the way, we're not, okay, fine. I produce 10 bags each and every year. So let's say, how many pod do I have? I have, let's say, 15,000 pod. My friend have 10,000 pod. We put all of them together, dry them, and then they will know each and every person, the bags that we have. But you can't, as individual, you can't get a machine. Maybe the machine might be very expensive. Or we can even ask the Posoko Joseph just to do some small minor machine for us, as you are saying. Because I see that... that
is where government and Cocoa Board come in, to provide
exactly, to provide it. You see, but at the end of the day, the farmers fund, now it is a little bit shaken. It is only with the reorganization, the concerned farmers, that we just dig down. It will go to a time they were enemy to the state because at the end, some of the things that we're saying, other people were not happy with it because we're exposing a whole lot of things that was happening on the ground. Because when we go, we say as a state.
Okay, let's go back to our guests online. I want to come back to Professor Janku. Professor Janku, these issues persist, but there are still cocoa farmers who are making harvest yearly. But Cocoa Board still cannot, pay or buy these cocoas. They are indebted, they high debt. As at 2020, according to the Auditor General report, Cocoa Board's debt as of September 2020 stood at 12.3 billion Ghana cedis. So would you say that besides the issues of galamsey and the other issues concerning the farmers, there's mismanagement and high indebtedness, which is why Cocoa Board is not credit-worthy at this point? Professor Janku.
Thank you. Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Well, yes, I believe Cocoa Board has challenges, and some of which you've just mentioned. But I also saw recently their response that they have the resources to purchase cocoa and that they would be able to do so. But we have to look at the long-term sustainability of the process, of why is Cocoa Board indebted? I know that even recently, for example, the world market price of cocoa has been rising. All right, so it's cocoa production and the whole process that we have in place not profitable. I believe it should be. Are there institutional factors that are making it difficult for Cocoa Board to be able to play the role that they are supposed to play and be able to purchase cocoa? So they have mentioned that they do have the resources to purchase cocoa for the year. And so I don't have a reason to think that they would not be able to do so, that farmers will not be able to receive monies for cocoa that is purchased. But my concern is the long-term sustainability of the processes that we have in place for purchasing cocoa. But also note that since the deregulation where the private sector and other institutions have come on board, that has helped for Cocoa Board to be able to do what they have been mandated to do. So I do not think there is an alarm there whereby Cocoa Board will not be able to purchase cocoa. All right.
Thank you there. We just go around for your final reactions and then we can wrap up this conversation. I'll come back to you in the studio, Nana, but let me go to Professor Michael Quarteng for your final words. Professor Michael Quarteng, you have to unmute, please.
So, just as Professor Gambafo said, Cocoa Board issued a press statement that we are in the position to purchase cocoa for the season. And that is right. I don't think if we are not in a position, we'll just increase the cocoa producer price. So we can assure farmers or the LBCs and then all the stakeholders that Cocoa Board is in the position to purchase cocoa price. But we are advising that they should stop the galamsey, the illegal mining. And then also there's a topic, I'm not sure it's part of this topic, but the smuggling, they should also stop. Because that is what is causing Cocoa Board to run into loss. Because if we put in money, we go for loan and then invest in the production, and at the end of the day, we don't get the needed yield, then it means that we can't also pay our debt.
If you don't incentivize the farmers enough and you don't give them the fertilizers they need, you don't provide the resources, like I said, mechanization and all of that, and illegal mining is encroaching on their land, are you expecting to make those results? Obviously not.
Yeah.
You can go ahead.
For now, the major issue has to do with the illegal mining and then the smuggling, because with the inputs, we are doing a lot. We are giving them fertilizers. As we speak, there's fertilizers, liquid fertilizers all over the nation that we are giving to farmers. There are other practices Cocoa Board has introduced, the pruning, the pollination, and all this. So just to help the farmer to get a good yield. But the fact remains that the galamsey and then the smuggling is what is causing us. And that is why we are calling on the government, the stakeholders, the security agencies, everybody should come on board so that we can fight this. With the Economic Plant Protection Act, Cocoa Board is seriously enforcing this act to ensure that whoever destroy cocoa will take you on legally. Thank you.
Thank you. Professor Julius Hagen, this is where we've come to. This is the cocoa situation of Ghana. What are your final words?
Yeah, I think it looks a bit scary, but I'm not surprised. What I expect we do, if we are expecting the government to take drastic decisions now, politically it will be suicidal for any government, because 2024 was 2020, it nearly affected the current government. And sometimes, surprisingly, as you go around saying that I'm going to ban your opponent.
We lost you there for a second.
Also say I'm going to encourage. I expect maybe the international community. Yeah, the international community can come in. That Ghana, hey, if you are not careful, your beans will be banned because they contain so and so. If that alarm bell is rung, then we have no choice than to strictly go by the rules. Other than that, if you leave it just as it is, the government are afraid to take the bull by the horn because they are afraid of losing votes. because those involved in galamsey, that is also their livelihood. There are thousands and millions of them, and it's going to affect them. They don't want to take such decisions. So I believe the various stakeholders, the international community can also come on board to send a warning that if measures are not taken, maybe in the next few years, your cocoa cannot be accepted at the international market.
Right.
I believe when that is done, it will put some kind of fear, and we have no choice than to go straightly by the rules.
Thank you, Professor Julius Hagen. Nana Obuadie, the second.
Talking about international community, who is the international community? I don't see them. They don't exist. This is Ghana. So forget about international community. It is ours. When malaria is killing you, are you waiting for international community to come and get you a net before you make sure you tied up your environment?
They play.
No, they don't have to play any role. It's because of laziness. It's laziness on the part of our side, because the communal spirit is gone. So at the end of the day, everybody's mindset is on the presidency.
No,
it is the government.
Want?
It is the government. What we want is a very good and nice policy. The system have to work. The police have to work. The police are not working. The police are working for the politicians. Some of the people are untouchable. I can be arrested anytime. I've been arrested before. All because DC somewhere just said, go and arrest this person, and then they came for me. But then the DC cannot be arrested, all because it's a political power. Head of RISEC telling me not to stop the galamseyers, but rather encouraging them to destroy the whole of Fin River. So at the end of the day, what will help us, the solution of this situation, it is very simple. It's the time for the president to come out to empower the young people, to talk to them. And at the end of the day, Cocoa Board or government have to give us there should be money for we, the concerned farmers, to go around with our education. Because most of our education that we're doing, we're helping the young people. Because some of them are ready to get into farming. You said rearing for food and jobs. Rearing for food and jobs. Where are the animals? Some of them have been able to put up their pen. They are waiting for the animals just to be in. I can't go to Kwabin right now. When I get there, the boys will beat me up. Because almost 500 youth there put up their pen, waiting for me to get them the animals inside. But where from the support? There's no support. So these guys will go back to the Etiwa forest again and then destroy it. And they go there in the night.
Did you just mention Etiwa?
Yes. Etiwa forest. They are mining within Etiwa forest. Go to a town called Kukusu. Kukusu, everything is being destroyed. All the cocoa there has been destroyed. Right away, this very morning, let them send their drones there. Who are those people doing that? Are they bigger than the laws of this country? So those in authority have to be sacked or have to be arrested. Because if you are in charge of the lands and the mineral resources, we have to ask you all these questions. The minister is supposed to be here. The minister for environment need to be here. And what are they doing? They are the people that they are causing we and Cocoa Board. Don't blame Cocoa Board. Don't blame anybody. Blame this institution and blame the security service.
I want to believe that this is a form of escalation. So hopefully they can hear you and start doing something in the right
direction. Now.
So, but we do have to go.
We have to start it now.
Yeah.
Nana, we're grateful for your time. Nana Obuadie Bonsu II. He is the president, Concerned Farmers Association of Ghana. Nana, thanks for coming.
You're welcome.
We also had joining the conversation Professor Julius Hagen, Vice Dean, School of Agriculture, University of Cape Coast. Then we had Professor Fred Janku, researcher at the Economics Division of ISSA, and Professor Michael Kwarteng, head Cocoa Protection Desk, which used to be the Anti-Illegal Mining Desk. This has been our conversation so far, but stay with us. We're still going to be talking about the limited voter registration exercise, the Electoral Commission's role, the violence that has characterized it, but also the concerns of the Electoral Commission when it comes to the political parties, the registration of minors, busing here and there. We're going to be dilating on those issues when we return from the break. Do stay.
Deputy Commissioner at the EC, Dr. Mr. Bosman Asari says it is alarmed by the attempts by some persons to get minors enrolled onto the electoral roll, which it says is partly fueled by the use of the guarantor system of identification.
We continue to receive reports that minors and non-Ghanaians are being encouraged by certain persons who are members of political parties to register as voters. The Commission has seen a report from the Western region, specifically in Impoho, where some 2 persons who allegedly facilitated the registration of 5 minors have been apprehended by the police. We wish to use this opportunity to urge parents especially to dissuade their children who are less than 18 years from registering as voters. Similarly, we beseech the national leadership of the political parties to discourage the executives in the regions and the constituencies from transporting minors and foreigners to the registration centers. The objective of the Commission, as always, has been to have a credible register for the 2024 elections and beyond. We believe the political parties, as the main stakeholders in the general election, must be dedicated to supporting a credible register as well. As a result, we find attempts by parties to support the registration of minors and foreigners as completely unacceptable, and it is aimed at undermining the country's electoral democracy. We urge the police to apply the laws on those who have been apprehended to serve as a deterrent to others in the enterprise of facilitating the registration of minors and foreigners.
The Commission believes the solution to these problems will be to use the Ghana card as the only mode of identification.
We have also noticed that the disturbances occurring at some of our registration centers is due to the fact that some people are doubting the ages of some of the applicants. This is the reason why the Commission has been advocating for the usage of the Ghana card, which has the date of birth and the nationality of the bearers of the card, and the abolition of the guarantor system. We are hopeful that in the next registration exercise, applicants will use the Ghana card as the means of identification. The guarantor system continues to dominate the forms of identification used in the 2024 registration exercise, as in the 2023 exercise. This is something the Commission is not proud of because it is used by political parties and certain persons to facilitate the registration of unqualified persons, such as minors and foreigners. The current confusion at the registration centers is attributable to the guarantor system, because we are seeing many people who others are alleging they are minors and they are trying to register, and others are also insisting that we think you are not 18 years.
The Commission also rejected claims it was discriminating against some groups.
The Commission has no intention of favoring any particular regions, constituencies, or zones in this registration exercise. All such commentaries implying that the Commission has sent bad equipment to certain parts of the country, or frustrating the registration exercise in some regions or constituencies are championed by persons who are completely ignorant of the processes of the Electoral Commission. It's unfortunate that some will accuse the Commission of discriminating against a section of Ghanaians in the registration exercise. We wish to use this medium to again assure all Ghanaians that the Commission is committed to ensuring that all qualified persons get onto the voters' register and vote in the December 2024 presidential and parliamentary elections.
Although the Commission has already apologized for the wrong tabulations which happened over the weekend, they insist that it is not a major issue. However, they have taken steps to ensure it does not happen again.
Clearly, you can see the real figures were correct, but the disaggregation of the various days, so I don't see this as anything which is so major for people to make a beef about. The bigger picture, the total registered at the time, about 143 was also captured correctly.
Although the NDC has instructed their agents on the grounds to record every serial number of every machine used, the EC insists they will not share these numbers with any political party.
We won't make the serial numbers available to any persons or any political parties. So if the parties strongly believe that they have a way of getting it, this is a democratic society, so they can go ahead and get it. But the EC will not make anything available, and we've made that very, very clear in our statement. So that will not be made available to the political parties.
The Electoral Commission says they are on course to register more than 600,000 individuals. For Joy News, Michael Ashali.
Well, that's the latest situation there, and we'll quickly get into the conversation with our guests on the different dynamics. Joining us, we have Dr. Peter Boama Otokuno. He is from the NDC. He joins the conversation. And we also have CDD fellow Dr. John Osai Kwapong. Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning, Benjamin.
Dr. Otokuno, good to have you join the conversation. You would have to unmute, please.
Good morning, Gapo. I can hear you.
All right.
Sorry for that.
It is good to have you join the conversation. Let's just start with your appreciation of the limited voter registration exercise over the last few days. Day one was characterized by a lot of problems here and there. So far, what have you seen? I'll start with you, Dr. Otokuno.
Well, as I said last week, it was early days yet to make some conclusive statements in respect of the registration exercise. Day one was fraught with a lot of irregularities, which we felt was avoidable. But again, we have seen major improvements in those irregularities. And in most cases, they have been eliminated, except that we have had some few outstanding issues with the Electoral Commission, which we are still pursuing. And I'm sure you followed our press conference read by our national chairman last week, making demands on the release of the serial numbers for the BVRs, which we thought was very crucial, particularly owing to the unresolved claims of the EC that some BVR machines have been missing from their watch. And so we have been monitoring the process very closely, so that nobody takes undue advantage of the difficulties and the challenges confronting the Electoral Commission and the processes to deny the people of this country their right to vote. Indeed, we have also observed with much worry and much disquiet how the Electoral Commission have responded to some of the issues that have come up, particularly the response they gave in respect of our demand for the BVR serial numbers to be released. We read with much dismay the claim that they are afraid if they give the serial numbers to political parties, it will compromise the processes and the data will be compromised and so on and so forth. Especially when this same group of people had made the argument that the missing BVRs had no threat at all to the electoral database, and that when you have the machine with all the serial numbers on it, it was immaterial and nobody could get into the system. And so we have been still pushing very hard, and we have requested our agents and all the registration centers to make it a point as part of their responsibilities to procure or secure the serial numbers for the various BVRs. And the reason we are doing so... Wait,
are you saying that you're going to do this on the blind side of the EC, contrary to what the EC is saying? Because that would make it, in a way, illegal. They are saying that this could compromise the elections, but you're going to go ahead anyway to get them. Is that what you're saying?
This in no way, Ben, is going to compromise the elections.
But the Electoral Commission itself, I'm just saying this. The EC says you do this, you are compromising the election. Yet you say you are still going to go ahead and do this.
You see, Ben, the serial numbers on the device has absolutely nothing to do with the database. Rather, it has something to do with the security of the equipments that are being used, because we believe that the equipments that are missing, if anybody has those equipments and is able to activate access to them, and I explained to you last week that they said the laptops in the BVRs were those that were stolen, but the BVRs, the laptops are the parts of the equipment that carries the software. Now, if anybody has access to that software, the person can register any number of people without recourse to the due process. And so we have said that it is not the serial number That is the most important. But if political parties have it, then we would be able to track every single serial number and the number of people that they have registered, so that when the Electoral Commission puts out their final figures, we would be able to put it side by side and be able to tell that these numbers are inconsistent. Just some few days ago, we have seen the kind of errors that the Electoral Commission claim they have made in terms of the tabulation of the number of people who have registered. These are clearly unavoidable and looks rather even suspicious. Because if you are not able to add numbers in tens of thousands, how can you add numbers in millions? And the EC is telling us that we shouldn't be worried because they are making mistakes in adding numbers in tens of thousands. And this is the Electoral Commission that is supposed to declare results that will come up to millions. And they are saying that we shouldn't be worried. I think that the Electoral Commission should take Ghanaians a little bit more serious. They should bear in mind the responsibility, the onus that they carry. They actually carry the heart of the nation, because elections is the heartbeat of every nation. And our democracy is most important, most critical for the survival of our nation. They must take things more serious. And the serious ones are the ones that the Electoral Commissions are disregarding. And they are rather, following the things that do not matter. We have equipments that are missing. The Electoral Commission has decided to change the activation processes. We believe the new activation processes even makes it easier for anybody to compromise the system. When you have not found your missing laptops, now you are saying that all the equipment should have self-entry, so self-authorization. So you go there, your authorization code, you do the self-entry, then rather the code that you have used to authorize, you will send it to the Electoral Commission at the headquarters, which means that those 5 equipments, if I am having it, and I'm able to generate my own activation code, it means that I have full access to the system. We think that is problematic. Again, last week I mentioned that
Dr. Tokuno, so final point on that. Final point on that. Please go ahead.
Yes, we remain suspicious of the reason why the Electoral Commission would change the processes in the first place. Because previously, what they did was that from the headquarters, they give you a general entry activation code, which will get you to activate the system, the software, the various district officers or at the various registration centers. Then after the activation, you would generate your new activation code, which you are going to use for the period, which will be known to nobody at the headquarters and nobody apart from the district registration officer, which is the director. This, we believe, was very important because then it helps the security of the DVRs and the data that they capture. Now, they are generating the codes and sending it to the headquarters. With those codes, anybody can use those missing equipments and mimic.
Dr. Tokuno, so point made.
Register additional people.
Point made on that. Point made on that. I think it's clear enough from the last conversation. Let me just welcome aboard Dennis Miracles Abwaje. He speaks for the Baumia campaign. Miracles, good morning.
Good morning, bro.
I hope you're well.
I'm well, my brother.
All right, thank you for joining the conversation. Sweetie, can we
I
also
want to
find
bring
out
in
from
Dr. George Osai Kwapong from the CDD before we come back to you, Miracle. One of your colleagues, Dr. Kwapong, I think a research analyst at the Ghana for CDD, Guilfred Boating Esiama, he says that the Electoral Commission and the Ghana Police Service were not prepared for this limited voter registration exercise. Even on the back of the EC addressing, the public yesterday and all the issues we've seen coming from the few days that this registration has been underway. Do you agree that the EC and Ghana Police Service were not adequately prepared for this exercise? What are your thoughts?
Good morning. Thank you very much. I think, especially because of the issues that were witnessed on day one and the challenges that quite a number of people or various registration centers faced, was really an indication of the lack of full preparedness on the part of the EC. I mean, I know that sometimes technology, can let you down, and technology doesn't work when you need technology to work. But one would have hoped that these were things that the EC would have anticipated. But at least you also, whilst I agree with Guilfred's assertion of that, I also think that at least you also ought to give the EC, some credit for at least immediately, upon recognition of those challenges on day one, immediately put in some measures to try and forestall, further challenges and further issues.
So this issue about serial numbers for the BVRs, that Dr. Tokuno is saying that they are going to go ahead and find the serial numbers for each BVR device. Is this as significant as they're making it seem? I mean, the EC is saying that it might compromise the elections, the integrity of the elections, but they believe that they need it to monitor so that they can tell if there's something fishy happening. Is it as significant as is being
this is the first time that I have heard of this request, right? I mean, in terms of ever since we introduced this as part of our, our electoral system, no political party has asked for these serial numbers. But it looks like it has been occasioned by the disclosure that some equipment, had gone missing, etc., etc. But when you look beyond the demand and the reasoning behind the demand, you notice that at the heart of this issue is a deepening mistrust of the Electoral Commission and a deepening mistrust between Ghana's main opposition political party and the EC. I was very encouraged when the NDC returned to IPAC, because for me, it was a good and positive signal that, after a period of absence, at least they were signaling that they were ready to have a more positive, constructive engagement with the EC. But it looks like the relationship is starting to get frosty again, with a certain amount of suspicion in terms of, they are just not that confident that the EC is out to treat them fairly. And when you genuinely feel that way, every step that an institution takes would be viewed with suspicion, and therefore you would want to demand a whole lot of, assurances as part of the process. To make sure that you are not blindsided. And I think that is what is strongly driving some of these demands, for example, for the BVR serial numbers. I sincerely believe that if there was mutual trust between the EC and the NDC, they wouldn't be too worried about certain things. They would appeal to the better angels of the EC. But in the absence of that kind of trust, everything, you have to keep you are driven by this. I have to keep my eyes very wide open. I have to make sure that I'm watching you at every step of the way. Yeah.
Doc, so quickly on that, do you feel, when you look at the breakdown of trust and the two different parties, the EC and the NDC, what roles have been played that have brought us to this point? And do you think this breakdown of trust could impact election 2024?
Yeah.
If not handled properly, that is.
If I can trace it, I think a lot of it has to do with the aftermath and the lingering effects of the 2020 election. And then sometimes I also feel like part of it also has to do with the way and manner in which Madam Charlotte Osei was removed from office and replaced with Madam Jean Mensah, right? Which sort of seemed like we want our own EC in terms of the ruling party who's more favorable to us. It also didn't help with some of the additional appointments to the EC in terms of some known partisans who were appointed to the institution. So when you add all of that, a key player like a major opposition party would always view some of your moves with suspicion. I know that there were also issues at IPAC. Instead of using deliberation as well as consensus building, the NDC generally felt that their treatment at the IPAC made it pointless to participate in IPAC issues. So again, all of that contributed to, look, we don't even want to be part of this. Now they are back. I hope they stay. But I think it is incumbent upon the EC to continue to demonstrate that they are really a very fair and impartial arbiter. The mistrust is not just between the NDC and the EC.
Right.
I've said this repeatedly. If you look at the most recent Afrobarometer, the level of trust in the EC is too low. And going into such a major election, one would hope that they would always be guided by reassuring the Ghanaian people and reassuring all the political parties that we are not out to do anyone in. We are not out to get any political party. Which is why even something like a computational error, if there was trust when you commit a computational error, everyone is more likely to give you some benefit of the doubt. But if you look at the presser explaining the error that they put on their social media page on Facebook, for example, a lot of the comments, you can see that they were underpinned by, well, we don't believe you, we don't trust you, things like that. And I think that is one of the things that the EC should really watch out for, right? Whatever quality assurance processes they have internally,
right.
If a simple infographic has to go through 3 hands, add another 4 or 5 steps, right? Because you can't afford any errors in an era where trust is at a very low level. You don't want to reinforce that narrative of mistrust.
That is, just briefly, very briefly, what has been your assessment of Miracles Abwaje? What has been your assessment of the process so far?
Very briefly, let me say that the isolated cases of confrontations and minor attempts to rather minors are completely uncalled for. And all those involved should be dealt with according to the law drastically. But in terms of the numbers and in terms of I think that today was when we had challenges. But so far, I believe that it's taken off quickly and the registration is going on quite well.
So we've looked at the numbers as well. Looking at the national total, we are looking at north of 250,000, at least per what I have seen, which is encouraging. But there have also been the other side of the process. People with arms, machetes, guns at these centers disrupting the process. People attempting. Let me land. People attempting to register minors. Some people getting arrested on both sides. NDC, MPP, busing. What's your reflection on those? How can we make the process better?
They should be arrested. I mean, our democracy has grown too much for this absolute uncalled for behavior. It's completely uncouth. It's unlike us. Let us forcefully establish our protest, but without violence. At the registration centers, there are several civil processes to register your protest and get your concerns addressed. So why do you go to a registration center with machete and guns and what have you? I think these things are things that when it comes up, we should glorify them by discussing them on air as if, yes, let's get them arrested.
We're not glorifying them. It is the same party people, from your party and Dr. Kuno's party who are engaging in these things.
And there was them. And then this has been arrested. Now that if you arrest them, I deal with him.
Dennis, your line, your connection, we are losing you. An MPP person has also, yes, better. The Mpoho,
I am saying that
Mpoho MPP guy has also been arrested.
Has just been arrested. Deal with the MP. If an MP is arrested, deal with him. We shouldn't even have a conversation around this. The laws are clear. Don't go to the registration center with violence. And don't go there with tags and guns. If you go there, let the security arrest them. It doesn't matter which part. We have come too far as a country as supposed to be having this conversation and make like this way for.
Miracles, it seems like all these issues.
Or is a member of parliament deal with the law? Simple.
Your line is we keep losing you. So can you try that again? Yes.
Is it better now?
Yes.
I am saying that we should move away from discussing these actions of these uncouth actions as if they have a place in our electoral process.
But they are happening. They may not have a place, but they are happening. So we have to talk.
Deal with them. That's why there are laws. Why did we create the law? We created the laws because we knew there would be hoodlums like this. There will be miscreants like that. So apply the law to the latter. It's not an issue of discussion. The NDC MP that was arrested, deal with it. If an MPP MP is arrested, deal with him. If an MPP executive is arrested, deal with him. If an NDC MP executive is involved, deal with them. We need to discuss it today. Our democracy has come too far. Our electoral processes have come too far. For us to allow few people to disrupt this simple thing that I enjoy as a kid.
Well, Dennis, please hold for me. It looks like every time every time there's conflict somewhere at these registration centers, it's coming from the guarantor system. And the EC yesterday also lamented that they're worried because both major political parties want to garant for more than 10 people and bringing in people, foreigners, young people to come and register in places that they are not from. And then the resistance starts into a conflict. How are you, or how is your party communicating to your grassroots party representatives on the issue of this guarantor system? And how are you ensuring that they are not actually exceeding the number of 10, which is resulting in this conflict? Because even from Ayawaso Central, I was there myself. They said it was an MPP guy who was trying to bring more than 10 people to come and guarantee for them, which started issues.
You keep mentioning MPP.
But I'm telling you because I was there. I was there when the conflict happened.
The NDC MP that is also reported officially by
My question remains, what is the communication to your party representatives at the grassroots? Use
that one too as an example. But the thing is that it is one of the reasons why the EC earlier on was proposing the use of the Ghana card for this kind of registration. And we supported and agreed with them. Because that would have taken away all these unnecessary tension in this.
Yeah, but that could have also disenfranchised some others. There was a need for the balance.
How? You could have gone to the what we had to do was to strengthen the national identification system and make sure that they have the capacity to produce the card. How does that disenfranchise anybody?
You say what it would have meant would be to strengthen. You have not done the thing after the fact. You've not done that. Some people still don't have it. Dennis, I always say this when we're having a conversation. Let us have a conversation on that level. You've not done the thing yet. Some people don't have the card. How do you expect them to get it?
You are interrupting me. Can I also speak? I am saying that what we should have done. You have your view. Let me share my view. Why don't you want me to share my view? You think that?
Go ahead. The time is ticking. Share your view.
What we should have done was to enhance the capacity of the National Identification Authority to provide these cards. That was also an option. We could have done that. Without that, we have a guarantor system. Unfortunately, there are few isolated places. If you compare the places we are experiencing these to the places where we are having peace and quiet, I think these are few isolated. Let the law deal with them. And in fact, whether executive or executive, the case of the CM, for example, let the law them, then would realize if you behave like this, the law with you. That is the position on the matter. It is not about changing. It doesn't.
Right. We're still losing you, so we'll try to reconnect, or we'll just encourage that you move a bit of a distance from where you are. Hopefully the line will be better. Dr. Otokuno, I have a question. Why is it that these political figures, and let me stick to your party, members of parliament, must be at these centers? What are your fears to the extent that you must all troop there? Because it's a recipe for chaos. You have NDC bigwigs there, MPP bigwigs there. It's a recipe for chaos. This will continue happening until we find, why can't you just trust whatever agents you have on the ground to do it? And then you have these bigwigs showing up. What is it? Dr. Otokuno, that one was for you.
Ben, I think that we are misconstruing the facts here. And
who is misconstruing what?
All of us. I mean, about MPs going to the registration centers and all that. The MPs are the key beneficiaries of the registration exercise. And so they cannot exclude themselves from the process.
I'm not saying they should exclude themselves. Can't they have agents there? Why do they have to be physically there?
So they must monitor the processes. And monitoring the processes means that they must visit the centers. And so you would have instances where MPs are visiting the centers. And so that is not the issue. The issue mainly is about political violence that has become part of our electoral process, that has actually been entrenched by our friends in the MP. And you saw that from the 2020, in fact, in the run-up to the 2016 elections, and they have been very consistent in the perpetration of violence in our electoral process.
Your side has not been angelic. Your side has not been angelic on that front either. Your side has not been angelic. Don't paint it as though it were an NPP problem.
Have you seen NDC tax or the use of police and military killing people, maiming people, hurting people, causing violence all over in the last few elections? I mean, go back to the last 4 elections and cite examples for me. You would hardly see any instance where the NDC has sent tax to attack any registration center, any voting center, or to disrupt any election process. Now, the current issues, let's pick them case by case. He is readily mentioning Collins Dada and the MPs being arrested and all that. What is the case in the Collins Dada matter? Collins Dada was not at the police station. The claim by the police was that some vehicle being used is a vehicle known to belong to him. And what was happening in the Sunako South? The MPP tax had attacked our constituency executives. They had beaten mercilessly and manhandled our constituency executives, including our regional youth organizer. And so some supporters of Collins Downer, who had the instance, decided upon they were patrolling with the vehicle. So on hearing that, they decided to visit the center and see what happened. And so they got there, then they had to intervene and stop the confusion. You have seen videos of violence.
You say intervene and stop the confusion. They ended up engaging in violence themselves.
And so I mean, Ben, when you get to a point and they are beating your people, what will you do? You fold your arms and clap for them. You would have to engage. And that is exactly what happened. And so, in fact, as we speak, some of our constituency executives are still in the hospital trying to seek treatment. And this violence was perpetrated by the MPP task. Why are they not being arrested? So on that score, I would agree with my friend in the MPP that, I mean, anybody who perpetrates this violence needs to be arrested. See what happened in Hafuano Southwest, Mankraso. You saw the videos. Police officers were standing aloof. They had folded their hands and they were looking at this MPP task, pack the NDC executives, hit them, injure them, and nobody was doing anything. And it is widespread everywhere. All the violence that is being perpetrated in this election are being perpetrated by MPP tax. And so those are the issues that we have been speaking to.
All right. So as we conclude the conversation, what then is the solution? What then is the way forward, at least from your end as a party?
Ben, all that we are saying is that those who have been put in charge of security at the police station must work. But again, I want to abuse our minds that this violence is as a result of the non-usage of the Ghana card for registration. It is not true. It is neither here nor there.
All right.
In fact, most of the instances, the issues that they are fighting over is not about guarantor system. Indeed, let me explain. Indeed,
you have limited time to do that, please.
That they are fighting over. Ben, if you may allow me a few minutes, most of the children, the underage, the minors that they are fighting over, now those that are carrying Ghana card, you would visibly see that this is a minor, but the person is carrying Ghana card. Now, the foundation of the problem has not been cured because Ghana card cannot be the solution. I've gone round. I have been to a lot of registration centers, and you see people who are barely 10 years old, and they are carrying Ghana cards. That says that they are 18 years old. What will you do? In that case, what will you do? Remember that in the processes for registering for Ghana card, you also have the guarantor system where you can go without a birth cert, and somebody will say that you are 18 years, and they will register you. So the processes of even registering the Ghana is also flouted with irregularities, which must be cured.
All right.
And so let's not
We'll have more time to dilate on these issues, Dr. Otokuno. We're grateful for your time, Dr. Peter Boama Otokuno. Let's hear briefly from Dennis Miracles Abwaje. Dennis, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. Your final thoughts. I asked a pointed question to Dr. Otokuno. How can the problem be solved from his end? From your end, what do you think the cure is, and what are your expectations?
Two ways. Continuous public education and then enforcing the laws. That's the only way to deal with crime. You know, some of the minors are also even victims. Some of them recently are taken to registration centers and engage things without it being a risk. And so we need to put in the public education and personalization for people to understand the negative implications on you if you wait up actually. But most importantly, we must see and enforce the law against attempts to register minors so that it will serve as a deterrent. But outside this, I don't see any other way.
All right. Thank you, Dennis, for sharing your thoughts. Let's hear from Dr. Osai Kwapong. You have the final word.
I do agree that public education is important. You need to keep appealing to people. You need to keep appealing to the political parties. But most importantly, both Dr. Otokuno and Miracles are agreed that you also need to enforce the law. The security agencies must make sure that peace is always maintained. And if you are found to have caused any infractions of the law, you should be dealt with.
Thank you, Dr. John Osai Kwapong, for joining the conversation. And hopefully we can activate the phone lines as well and hear what your thoughts are on this matter. But before we take our break and return, the fourth industrial revolution is here. But what does this mean for Ghana and Africa? Join global and local leaders to address the impact of technology at the first ever Industry Engagement Forum 2024 by Industry Immersion Africa, in collaboration with the MasterCard Foundation Ghana and the Ministry of Education through the National Service Scheme. Now, be a part of this groundbreaking immersive experience. The two-day event will serve as a pivotal platform fostering dialogue and collaboration in a bid to bridge the industry-academia gap, empower STEM graduates across Africa, and combat youth unemployment. The theme is Industry Driving AI and 4IR in Africa. That is the fourth industrial revolution in Africa. Collaborative pathways for digital transformation in Ghana. The date, two of them, Wednesday the 22nd of May and Thursday the 23rd of May 2024. The time, 8:30 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. each day at the UPSA Auditorium here in Accra. You can visit their website, www.iiafrica.org, for more information and to register as well. Media partners, Joy 99.7 FM, Joy News, and myjoyonline.com. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Welcome back on the AM show. Right before we get into other bits and share not our photo of the day, but our video of the day, something interesting. Yeah. The UPSA Law School, under the distinguished patronage of His Excellency John Agyekum Kufuor, former President of the Republic of Ghana, is pleased to invite you to the Open for Business, the AFTA, Africa Trade and Innovation Conference. Now, the conference is designed to provide a critical and independent platform for discussion of the new trade pact under the AFTA and Trade in Africa, and undertake a situational review of the adoption and implementation of the AFTA since 2021, and in the process, examine the challenges confronting the smooth takeoff of the regime. The details of the conference are as follows. The date, 16th and 17th of May 2024, time 9 a.m. GMT to 4 p.m. GMT each day. The venue, Kofi Ohene Konedu Auditorium on the UPSA campus. Visit the social media platforms of the UPSA Law School for information on how to participate in the conference, or call 0245 347 946. And those are some thoughts we'd like to share with you. But let me also just let you know. Attention, all HD Plus subscribers. Starting the 13th of June 2024, SES HD Plus Ghana will provide HD channels to free-to-air TV homes at no cost. This means that all users of the multi-TV platform will have access to HD channels without paying HD Plus subscriptions. Key points to remember. 1. As of the 16th of April 2024, no new HD Plus subscription purchases or activations will be available. Existing HD Plus decoders will receive free-to-air channels until the 13th of June 2024. 2. Subscribers with active subscriptions beyond the 13th of June 2024 will be compensated. Such customers will be contacted by the HD Plus number 0242 439 872 from the 30th of April. Now note as well, such subscribers are encouraged to call the HD Plus number 0242 439 872 from the 1st of June 2024. 3. From the 30th of May 2024, update your HD Plus decoder to access the new free-to-air HD channels. Support will be available until the 20th of June 2024, so kindly look out for the over-the-air software. Upgrade your decoder upon release of that software. And 4. Users of compatible Samsung QLED and UHD integrated TV sets should note that the My HD Plus TV app and My HD Plus mobile app will not be available from the 30th of May 2024. So note, to redeem subscription compensation, confirm your HD Plus number, provide a valid Ghana ID, and a mobile money number by the 30th of April 2024. HD Plus will issue the last batch of compensations by the 20th of June 2024 and will not be liable to making any payments if subscribers remain unreachable or do not follow up with the call center on, I repeat, 0242 439 872 before the deadline. We thank all our cherished customers for the patronage. Now, guess what? We're ushering in a new era of television in Ghana, ensuring that accessibility and quality entertainment go hand in hand.
Well, there you have it. But that's not all the messages we want you to have before we go. I want to tell you about the Drapa Dubai, inviting you to escape to the Royal Cozy Hills Hotel. I'm sure you've seen the rest. Now it's time to see the best. Take a break from work and take a break from the South. The Royal Cozy Hills Hotel, that is at Drapa Dubai, is the best place to relax, rewind, and re-energize. It is away from the stress of the South. Now, this is what awaits you if you go to Drapa Dubai. 1, unforgettable safari experience. Amazing array of wildlife, including lions, hippopotamus, zebras, ostriches, among many others. And using their spacious and well-secured game tour vehicles or using quad bikes. 2, water sports, such as jet skiing, boat or canoe rides, etc. 3, various family games to keep you and your families excited all day, every day. And 4, great tourist attractions in the Upper West region, including the Mushroom Rock, the Slave Cave, among others. So, escape from the south, escape to the north. Escape to Royal Cozy Hills Hotel, that is at Drapa Dubai, for an unforgettable safari experience. Please call them on 050-169-4280 or 024-88-44463 for reservations and further inquiries. And that's how we're wrapping up for the AM show this morning.
But we have a video where we are checking out. You know, there was a gridlock yesterday in town. This is what some of the scenes from different parts of Accra and beyond yesterday.
Looks like it was a proper gridlock yesterday, huh? Where's this? Achimota? Oh, where is the truck going? Well, if Mohammed cannot go to the mountain will go to Mohammed. This truck driver has to get home or wherever he's going by hook or crook. And that is him using any ways possible to get home. So this is our video of the day showing you how bad the situation was yesterday. Traffic jam. I wonder what caused this. Benjamin, our director says he blames you for all this. What have you done? What did you do? You have
I don't know whether I've
become.
I don't work with the MTTD, and I'm not a traffic warden, so, and I don't fix the traffic lights, so I don't know. But it's been another exciting installment of the AM show with Sweetie Abochi and yours truly. We leave them in the hands of Faustina Safo, who will be serving Joy News Desk. But from us to you, what's the message, Sweetie? We love you. Stay with us. Joy News Desk is up next.
That's the message.